What's going on, guys? Check it out. We are here once again with another podcast because I'm itching for a bruising.
You're itching.
And mental.
Because I'm itching.
And mental anguish.
I'm just itchy.
And insanity. And to live in a mental institution the rest of my life. But this is episode 2. That's right, episode 2. Hopefully, the sound quality is going really well. Got a new mic for it to try this out, kind of thing. We have here, obviously, RTW. We got the C Witch as last time. We got Buttons. The WWB. But we have today's special guest is my mother.
Joe Mama.
Joe Mama was pretty much her original gamer tag, because that's what you put in that Perfect Dark game all the time when we play. We're like, what do I put? You just come up with a name.
Oh. We don't want to reveal our true identities.
No!
Right.
Because facial recognition software wouldn't work right now.
I have a funny story about facial recognition. Can I tell that? It's off topic.
Go ahead. Why not?
So my husband is Mark, and he looks similar to Jack Nicholson in The Shining, coming through the door.
He does. 100%.
And on my cabinet, I have all these Halloween pictures, everybody dressed up for Halloween, and I've got Jack Nicholson's face there. So I was looking through Google and how it'll ask you, is this person the same as this person? And they popped up. They had like a picture of Mark, and that thing that was like in the background. It was a picture of somebody else, but in the background is that picture of Jack Nicholson, and it popped up. Is this the same person? I'm like, no. That's not
I no need for you now. You answered my question with another question. Makes perfect sense. He does, though. Like, I've always thought, especially when he had his long hair. Like, it was. Didn't we have an idea for one of my Halloween parties where we were going to watch The Shining and he was going to cut through a
because
day-shift door with an axe, but we couldn't figure out a way where we could make sure none of my friends would be stupid and lean against it.
I think what happened is we were doing construction, so that door was going to take it out anyway. So you were like, hey, while we're watching movies, can Mark come to the door with a chainsaw? And I was like, let's not have your friends have actual fucking heart attacks.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
It's like, I don't want them to pee on my floor. So.
Yeah. So we didn't end up doing that, but it would have been funny.
But we love him. He's just a smart freaking guy.
Yep. That's
for sure. So, yeah. But that's a good story though. I don't think you've ever told me that one. That was a new one. I like that one.
Well, it just happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that's great.
Yeah, just recently.
Anyway, so have you heard anything pop culture wise?
Other than Salem Slot being postponed, no.
It got postponed? Really? I didn't even know that one.
It was supposed to come out last month.
Yeah. And now it's not coming out till like next April.
Holy shit!
That's good though. They're just cleaning
well,
it
I mean,
make sure it's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
Giving it more time to develop.
Look, you can polish a turd.
Like an egg?
It's just a shiny turd. Okay. And hopefully the movie's just not crap.
No, this movie's going to be good. Because isn't it the same director as It?
Andy, some Italian.
Andy Some Italian, that's his name?
Andy Some Italian.
Well,
I was going to say it. I was like,
some Italian.
it's like starts with a P and then has
like
a Chino.
Is it Chino?
Chino.
Starts with a fee and ends with a chino. Well, guys, it was fun doing the podcast, but Twitter got us canceled now. Thank you.
Al Pacino,
Al
the
Pacino.
director of the Salem Slot.
Why
not, Keep dragging it back in.
Well, I guess it's worth a Google.
But I think it's the same director as that did It. And Salem's Lot is my favorite Stephen King book. I even have that in my notes that I prepared.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
I haven't read it in a while. Are we still? Whatever.
You didn't grab it from the car? Well, I wanted to hit my vape, and I thought if she brought it in from the car, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Andres Muschietti, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the same it, right?
We should find a different topic to talk about and all be really deep in a conversation about something that's totally off topic for Rick when he gets back. So octopi are like more of like an Aquarius as opposed
Oh.
to the dolphin,
Right.
which is more of like
They
an
don't have
airborne.
skeletons.
Okay, so
They don't have
not bad.
skeletons.
No, I don't think so.
That's interesting. I don't know how they move around. I guess they're just muscular.
Must be.
Must be. Oh, hey.
Hey, welcome back.
I was here the whole time. Future Ricky put a picture of me sitting in this chair.
This one's being directed by Gary Dauberman.
Oh. Well, I'm sure it's
You're
gonna
way
be-
off with your Italian.
Well,
It's a-
no, Andy Muschietti was directed it. So I
Oh.
was correct.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's a really good story, so I'm sure if they do
Oh,
even
yeah.
a halfway decent job, it'll be good. It'll be really good. It's gonna be a really good. It's about vampires, which vampire movies are always good, and this one's.
Well,
I mean, not all of them, but.
Forsaken's a really bad vampire movie.
Oh, I
I
never
never
saw
heard of
that
that
one.
one.
Well, vampires who don't use their powers and like to use guns to kill people instead.
Oh, what's
So
wrong with
Underworld.
being
They
a
made
vampire?
Resident Evil 5 into a.
Isn't that
Yeah,
Underworld?
pretty much.
Isn't that Underworld?
Huh?
Isn't that Underworld?
No, you would think. It might be a prequel. No, I don't know, but I didn't believe it either until our aunt and I watched it at her house one night, and my exact words halfway through was, "You got anything better than this?"
They're co-parenting an aunt. Just in case you
Right.
get lost about that. I think his name's Hercules, which is kind of cute, for an aunt.
For
But
an ant, yeah, because they're strong.
yeah,
Ants
they're
are-
strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they pick up the leaves and
How
everything.
detailed.
Fix
I
that.
lied. I wasn't looking for my vape earlier. I was looking for a way out.
Yeah. I was checking all the windows and doors.
All right.
So Salem's Lot. What I like
Yes.
about Salem's Lot, and
I like that Salem lot.
just the one, not the whole, not
Then
all
I
Salem's
said
Lot.
I
What's
like
that?
it
A
a
Salem
Salem lot.
You guys haven't figured out by now. We're talking about Stephen King today on episode 2.
Yeah, I even got my T-shirt in.
She's got her T-shirt on.
Me too.
I got it because it's really the only Stephen King one I have.
But I like how in Salem's Lot the vampires, one vampire bites another vampire and on, and it just is overtaking this town. Because you don't see a lot of vampire things like that. It's usually the one main vampire and his group of vampires, and they're just attacking some people, or there's people fighting against them. But it's never just like just the people of the town that are
Yeah.
becoming the vampires. So I like that part of it.
I never saw the original movie
Mm.
because you said it sucked.
Yeah, the movies
So I
they
never
made.
watched it.
Movies they've made so far are not good. They made one back in I think it was made for TV, maybe? I don't remember if it was. I think so.
Well, so far specifically for that story, because there are good Stephen King movies.
Oh, yeah, there's great Stephen King movies. Just the Salem's Lot movies. are
Before
not.
somebody goes nuts.
They made like 2 of them, I think. One Salem's Lot movie they made way back in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, somewhere in there.
Uh-huh.
And then one was made, I think, in the 80s with Rob Lowe in it, and that one was really weird. But this one's going to be good. I have high hopes. I'm excited.
They can't fuck up 3 times, right?
That's right. 3rd time's a charm.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and they made the first 2. I think those ones were part of some of the movies that got made before Stephen King had a lot of say in what was going on with his movies. So they just kind of yeah, this is what we're doing. We don't care that you're the author, whatever.
Just because you can write books doesn't mean you know what you're doing about movies.
Yeah. Because I think Salem's Lot was one of his first books. Carrie was his first book, I think, and then
Here is his first book.
so.
Oh, wow.
Because the story that I heard was that he wrote that because he was a high school teacher. He wrote that. He kind of based her on several different students, and then he didn't think it was any good. But then it was his wife who read it and thought it was worth trying to pursue. And
Right.
but
He was a teacher?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
yeah,
God,
that's
that,
That's cool.
imagine Stephen King teaching.
a little intense in literature class today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what he taught? English or
No, I don't know. I'm not sure what he taught.
algebra?
It's like the story that I heard about how he would tell his little brother when their mom would be at work. He would tell his little brother stories to make him feel safe. It's like nothing like a little kid being told stories by Stephen King so he can go to sleep. That's funny.
That makes a lot of sense because when you tell a little kid a bedtime story to make him go to sleep, you don't have to have good endings. So it makes sense that now in his writing career,
He's like, we don't need a good ending.
you don't need a good. You just kind of write it until you get to the page that you wanted to get to. 239, and it was aliens.
Giant spider. I don't know.
That's bad. Have you looked up to see what the director of this one has done lately?
No.
At all?
Mm-mm.
So while we were talking about that, I was kind of looking up his filmography. He was a writer in Chapter 1 It.
Oh,
He's credited as one of the writers in that. He was credited as a writer in Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh.
Which got a bad rep. I don't think it was
That's
as
the
bad.
third one?
Yeah. I don't think it was as bad as people make it seem. It's still a fun watch.
It's like a wolf spirit.
Oh. I saw that one.
Well, you see the actual spirit that's been possessing Annabelle.
Oh.
But he also writer and he did a lot of writing. From what I'm seeing, Annabelle Creation, he helped on that one. That one don't help his kid. He helped It Chapter 2 according to his filmography. So he did help in Stephen King movies. So maybe he is a Stephen King fan and he'll do this one right for sure. I mean, that's
I think
the fact that he at least wrote for it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they listen to Stephen King.
No, that too, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know they have the gratuitous Stephen King cameo.
What's the best one of all time?
Oh, the one off of Maximum Overdrive. Period. There's no argument.
What's he say? This.
In Maximum Overdrive, the Earth has been a comet. Who the fuck's knocking on my door? Anyway. Cut all that shit out. She asked, what was the best Stephen King line? Oh, anyway, yes. Maximum Overdrive. It goes into the Earth goes into the comet, and one of the first things you see is an ATM machine, which Stephen King walks up to do a withdrawal, and it starts calling him an asshole. So he literally goes from just looking at it to wait, what? And then you just hear him go, "Hey, honey, sugar buns! Come over here, this machine just called me an asshole!"
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
But I don't know why this has always been my favorite. I know he's had a lot of cameos in his movies. A lot of people say Creep Show. You know, I'm pretty sure.
Well, he's in It.
He's in It. Well,
Yeah. I forget that Maximum Overdrive is Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
Because the concept is.
Well, so do people who make contests. Because in the contest it says, select your favorite Stephen King movie, and they didn't even have it on there. So fuck that contest.
Yeah, I think that's one of his short stories.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's just like the movie Stand By Me. That was one of his short stories.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because don't they fix the machines
that
being
the
angry
one
by just
with
filling
the
it with
body?
gas?
Don't they what?
Isn't that how they fix the machines being so
No,
angry?
it's one of those things like there's a comet and then the comet goes away and that they don't know for sure if that's why everything just goes back to normal and we never know why it didn't and why it went back. And
The only theory is that
It's
it
kinda
went
like-
through a comet. It's more like a gas. It's more like a space gas, really, than a comet. The comet's like a solid piece of rock.
But everybody.
I'm just laughing at
Gas?
No, just that's page 216. Space gas. All right, that's the end.
But I'm talking about in the movie. I haven't read the
but-
short story, but in the movie, it just looks like a green space gas wraps around Earth for a certain amount of time, and everything just comes to life.
It's kind of like The Mist.
Yeah.
The movie The Mist,
Yeah, something happens for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's only a 24-hour thing, so it's one Earth rotation.
Which I think, I am not a person who thinks.
I remember us having one night in that whole.
Okay,
Anyway.
what I just said is
I'm also not a person who thinks.
Thoughts and opinions? Don't have them.
like that Frasier episode where he's like, I am not a man, and then they cut off his show.
People who know me best will not be surprised by what I'm about to tell you. I am not a man.
That's all he said. What I was going to say is, I am not a person who thinks that kind of thing is super important. Because the story in both of those movies is about the people. The people being trapped in a situation, and how do they interact, and what happens with the people because of the situation. The situation doesn't fucking matter. Oh, there was some mist. Oh, there was a space gas. Whatever. Something happened for a while. People freaked out. That's the story.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, also,
I do!
You as the
You're
reader, you as the reader don't know because they didn't know.
Right.
The people
right.
that happen to don't know.
Right. So you can't have that comfort, and which is a good point, because if you were reading it and you were like, oh, well, this is what's going on, so I know that in 24 hours this is going to end for these people, you wouldn't have that suspense of like, are they going to be okay? Which adds to the story, because you don't know why it's there in the first place.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in the movie, it calls it a comet, which is a solid piece of rock, like a meteor, and then you just see a gas. Like, I understand where you're coming from. A lot of the, just don't say one thing and show me a whole different thing, because now it's like, okay, well,
Unless it's really brittle and just kind of like
yeah, that's possible.
it's like deconstruction space and just like wraps around the planet.
That's possible, because I highly doubt we're gonna get a NASA scientist in our
Kinda
comic
like-
section.
Kind of like
What
microplastics.
the hell?
Just
Did y'all
me
go
and
to
Bob
college
so
while-
lost in whatever you guys are
What?
talking about.
Did you go to college while I was in the bathroom, or what?
Yeah. I didn't know what Rick was talking about, and then I was like, oh, none of us know. And then
Right.
Sammy was like, oh, but what if it crumbles? And I'm
Right,
like,
the
oh,
microplastic.
You can learn just as much online as you can learn at a fucking college.
Yeah.
You
you know,
Paper.
we eat a credit card every single day.
Oh yeah.
Apparently.
As long as you do your research, make sure.
I've been avoiding credit cards just for that, because I'm afraid that they're gonna like jump at me, you know, force themselves down my throat. All right,
All right.
it's fine.
So that's what I
Credit
have.
card.
Oh, I got a couple of complaints about his books, and a thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
this bastard.
We are having no
Get 'em!
set. We are having no set. This is how we're gonna talk about it. Like, we're gonna talk about this for this certain amount. We're just gonna do whatever's on her
We're gonna
list.
follow my notes because I make.
She's
I
taking
did my
over.
homework.
I did my
credit for
homework.
Timestamps
I
are in
watched
the
a few
description.
movies this week. Is that okay? Does that not count as research? I thought it did.
I don't see any papers. Just like when you were in high school, I don't see your paper.
What are you laughing at, Steve?
See,
Okay.
why did I know at
Sorry,
least
Cody.
once you're gonna
What
call
you
me
say?
out of my job?
So
Yeah.
my thought on why people put down the endings of Stephen King's books.
I would never.
I said Stevens, as like I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call him Stevie.
Yeah, you know.
I mean-
Steve Aroni sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to mess with him,
Your
Stevie
kid's watching, it's
McGee.
like, oh, that's familiar.
So my thought is, okay, so the endings, people get on the ending. Granted, the endings are not the best part of the book, but I don't think it's because the endings are bad. I think it's because the beginnings and middle are so good. Because he's so good at building suspense and building characters that you care about. So you want these people to make it through. You're worried about them the whole book. At some point, it's going to end. That ending, no matter how good or bad it is, no matter what the ending is, it's going to be a letdown. Because number one, your story's over. And number
Right.
two, it's just that suspense is gone. That thing
Right.
you've been feeling reading the book where you kept turning the pages, you're like, I
Yeah.
got to know it. The ending is never going to live up to that feeling that you have. And I think
Right.
that it's just because he's so good at building that feeling is why people think, oh, the ending sucks. When really the ending didn't suck. It's
Right.
just how it is.
Yeah, the reason you're enjoying it is because you're constantly asking, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
By the time you get to the end of the book, you know what's happening.
Yeah. And so you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like now
Yeah.
it's just like now we just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now I've admitted though that I'm not a reader except for comic books.
Mm.
They got pictures. Couldn't anybody use like any author for that argument in a way? Because like my thing is when I hear about the endings of his books, it's more like because they end weird. Like all of a sudden there's a galactic turtle.
Well, that is a weird. That is,
And
yeah.
And there's a couple other books that there's a kid over there too. Look at that one. Mm.
Yeah.
Well, how has I don't even
Well,
want to say
see,
it.
that's what happens with his books, though. A lot of his books, and well, some more than others, but like they are really strange. The ending is strange. The story is strange. You know. Now some of his other books, the ending is really good, like Shawshank Redemption. I mean, that's but that's
good,
more of a
yeah.
grounded, just regular, just nothing supernatural going on, just a guy in prison story.
Well,
you know.
there's a little
And
supernatural.
so, well, it just made me think as you were talking about some books, there's a twist at the end. And maybe that's why people are mad at Stephen King, because in some books, people do, you get to the end and you're like, sometimes you get to the end and you're like, oh, he was that guy the whole time? Like there's a
Right.
twist. I don't feel like Stephen King does that a lot. His stories are more about the characters
Well,
and the progression of
yeah.
character through the book and through the story.
Yeah.
And so I think people who are wanting a twist or wanting something completely they're disappointed because that's not what the story's about.
He means the monoclown was.
He names the evil. He focuses on the evil. The evil is the evil. Because that's the point of people trying to deal with evil.
Right. Right.
Well, I think most writers write a plot and then they have the characters like built to follow the plot, you know. And he builds characters and then the characters drive the plot instead of like.
Right.
So he's kind
He's
of.
kind of. I imagine he's like writing. He's like, oh, and then what happens? What did she do next?
Right.
He probably gets just as excited as the reader does when he's writing the stuff
I would
too.
think so.
Yeah, I feel like
I
feel like he would be like that.
And I've heard
Going,
writers.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I've heard writers talk about that, about how people who don't write at all think that you get the whole thing in your head from beginning to end, and you're just, oh, now I just got to write it down. When that's not what happens, it kind of progresses. So you are kind of finding out what happens as you are actually writing it, which is an interesting. So the two complaints that I have, and they're not really complaints, but they're two things.
Peeves.
Yeah, two things that I've noticed in his books, and they don't happen a lot, but when they do, I'm like, oh, come on, and I guess I noticed it a lot because it happens in both two of my favorite books.
The female character.
The female, yeah. So you got The Stand and Salem's Lot, and they both have this, and then it happens in some of the other books, but where the female lead character has a fucking bitch of a mother from hell. Jesus Christ! Like I don't know. He must have known somebody whose mom was a total.
Well, I mean, he's from New England, and they're all. I mean, it's very waspish territory.
Whoa, let's not piss off all of New England. Hold on.
New England.
Well,
we love New England.
We know about them people.
We
love
giant
New
wasp
England.
nest.
So in Salem's Lot, you got the main girl character, Susan, and her mom. I guess, and maybe some other women read it, or other people in general read it, and can I don't know, identify more with it. So it's probably.
Oh, right.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I just don't enjoy it because I don't identify. Because me and my mom, our relationship wasn't like that. I mean, it was just, I don't know, the relationship, and also Franny in The Stand, her and her mom, same type of relationship, just very. They don't fucking like each other. Well, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, I can relate.
And
I
very,
can relate.
Just go ahead.
I was like, no, I was like, can ya?
Really?
So there's that. So that the whole thing about, I don't know, the female leads a lot of times and their moms, they just don't get along, and I just like, it's enough with that. And then the other thing that I could do without so much of is the giggling. Like his characters tend to get the nervous giggles, which is fine. But some of his characters laugh their ass off the whole fucking way through the book. It's like, would you calm down? Jesus Christ. Like Franny, I think, is like that. Which I don't like the name Franny either. Anyway,
I was about to say.
Yeah. But she laughs the whole fucking, all the way through The Stand. The whole fucking race is dying off, and she's just getting the giggles every 5 seconds. It's like, just shut up. I don't even like her. Anyway.
She's also
I love that book. That's like one of my favorite books. She's a little silly. She's a little well, like Susan is also, I feel like, a little silly in Salem's Lot. Like she paints, but she has this whole thing where she goes to college and she went for literature and art or something, and she's putting down to herself what she went to college for. It's like, well, you're the one that went to college for that. Nobody told you,
Right.
And then she paints and sells her paintings. But she's got a car. She lives at home and she's fighting with her mom all the time.
Yeah. And
she's like, oh, but now I sold the painting so I can go get an apartment. It's like, you got to do more than sell one couple of paintings and get an apartment. Like, what? Get a job, man. Like, what are you? I don't know. They're just they're a little silly. They're a little.
I'd be interested to see, is Stephen King married?
Yeah. And his wife's an author too.
I wonder what she's like in real life.
Well, I wonder what her relationship is with her mom. Maybe it's based on that. Stephen King's mother-in-law, if you're watching, are you a horrible person? No, I don't know. Maybe
if you're watching, you're not, and you can get me you could be a real nice fan and get me a signed Stephen King It book.
I don't know. I don't know if
you're doing this all wrong, mother.
I don't know if he knew somebody and their relationship with their mom was like that. Maybe his wife, but maybe somebody else, maybe who knows.
He could have even heard something like on the news about it too.
Yeah, maybe he never really knew anybody who, maybe his wife gets along with her mom great, and so he was like, well, that doesn't work for my story. So, and he didn't have any true life people that had kind of a little bit bad relationship to make it more realistic. So he kind of made up his own, and it's kind of like, But like I said, maybe other people read it and go, I totally identify, and they're like, yeah, that's what my mom's like. That's how we get along. But I did,
I'm pretty sure there is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff we're gonna say are opinions, so don't get all. If you like those characters or any of those your favorite,
tell us why. Explain your situation in the comments.
Leave in the comments why you like it. But
let's keep the conversation going.
Are you a girly girl that likes to see the girl laugh her ass off all the way?
I think she can sell a painting and then go get an apartment. It's like, I fixed it. I sold a painting. I've got everything figured out
all set now.
Yeah.
I have a feeling none of those type of people are watching a channel that's mainly or Dead by Daylight,
books in the first place.
killing. Yeah.
All right.
So we heard characters and the things she hates about the books. I'm actually surprised that she had 2, to be honest.
Yeah, well, those are my only 2 complaints of all the books, and I haven't read every single one because I haven't read a lot of the Dark Tower series.
Oh, I can't.
No, can't get into that.
I can't get into it. I can't get past the first book.
A lot of people really like it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
no one liked the movie.
Dark Tower series.
There's like 8 of them.
Yeah.
That's Stephen King?
Yeah.
Oh, but you really like him?
No, I can't get into
one
it.
of us can get into it.
It was his response. Apparently, he read the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings or something. And he was like, "This guy's such a good author. I'm never gonna be as good as this dude." And so he wrote the Dark Tower series after that to see if he could write like something like that. I don't know.
Well, that explains why why I can't get into it, because he's trying to do something that's not his thing.
Right.
And I like what he's doing, what he does.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
No one liked the movie either.
No.
So
when did the movie come out?
Anything before 2000 sucks. Don't even bother.
That wasn't before 2000, asshole. It was like maybe 5 years ago.
Never heard of it.
My complaint with Stephen King books. Are we complaining?
Oh. Well, I was just going to say that all the books that I've read, and I've read almost all of them, those are my only 2 complaints. A little too much giggling with the mother-daughter relationship.
Get out of here with your giggles and get out of here with your mothers. We don't need either of them.
Whatever you do, don't giggle at your mother.
Yeah.
No enjoying your mother's time.
Stephen
King. Do you think we're enjoying it right now? Look how tame we are compared to the first episode.
Yeah.
This is my complaint.
All right.
I'm going to say my complaint.
All right.
I'm complaining
Get your
it.
piece.
It's complaining. Getting the complaints in.
He writes all his books based off of like characters. He develops the characters, and then he's like, oh, what would they do? That's how he writes,
Mm-hmm.
If you read enough of his books, you notice that like he has like 20 characters, and he just like switches between them. Like, I don't know. It seems like there's like 20 character archetypes he follows.
Well, don't you maybe that's because there's only so many different kinds of people in the world.
There's more than 20 different types of people.
Well, yes, in the world, in America, there's 20. There's like 40 kinds of people.
Smart ass, dumbass, and jackass. Those are the 3.
And gay.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Well, that's why people like his books, though, because I think they identify with his characters, and I think that's why they do, because there's not that many different kinds of people, and so everybody's like, yeah, I'm that guy.
He probably picked the best type of characters that at least somebody can relate to.
Yeah, because everybody thinks they're so unique, but we're not.
We're not.
Right,
You're watching this, you're not fucking unique.
Yeah.
We see you.
We're the exact same.
We're looking at you right now, Bruce. We're coming after you, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce. You're so screwed, Bruce. Some guy named Bruce is shitting his pants right now.
Right now he's calling 911.
I'll send this guy. I'll send this guy to your house.
But having said all that,
don't fall asleep, Bruce.
We love Stephen King books and movies. That's why we're doing a podcast about him in the first place. Those were our only complaints.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get to my list. That's when I whip out my scroll. Like the whole
so what do we like about his books?
Oh, I do want to say one thing. Stephen King, you're a little hard to read. Just because you know he uses like a lot of big words, and like it's like the thought processes are very like following. Like if you don't have the same thought trains, if your brain doesn't work the same way as characters, sometimes you can get lost in what they're thinking. You're just like, oh, that's not where my brain would go.
You know, I bet that's why people either, because I feel like people either like Stephen King, I feel like people don't like Stephen King, or they really like Stephen King. You know, and I think maybe it's because if your brain works along that same path,
Okay.
you're like, oh,
Makes sense.
I get this. This makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then another person's like, I don't fucking get what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, because yeah, that makes sense because I don't really read it for the same reason you do. I like the creepy chill factor of like in Salem's Lot and shit. Like,
and I like the characters and the progression of what they're
And I can take it or leave it.
Well, and I like the creepy stuff too, but yeah, I've always been drawn to it because of the characters and the interplay between the characters. Obviously, not the girls and their moms, but everybody else, how they interact, and stuff. Like I really like in The Stand that one certain part where he switches characters. Like you're in who's the guy who can't talk, you can't hear. Anyway, one of the main characters, you can't.
Yeah,
he's tired to watch that.
I know what he's.
Yeah, he's in the town, and you're in his perspective, and he sees another guy like laying in the street, and then it like just switches, and now you're in that guy's. Is he on a bike?
Is he on a bike in that scene? I remember
one of them. I thought one of them was on the bike. Yeah, one's on the bike, one's laying in the street.
The deaf mute.
Yeah, Tom Cullen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're in his perspective, seeing Nick. You were just in Nick's head, and now you're seeing Nick like from the other guy's perspective, from Tom's perspective, and it's like you're in Nick's head, but now you're looking in a mirror. I don't know. It's just, it's interesting.
It's good.
I think that sometimes makes it hard to follow.
Right.
For people who their brain doesn't.
And I do mostly listen because I just burn through books and podcasts at work, and so I wonder if that is different. Like when you're actually reading the words. Then...
I think so too, because I know sometimes when you read a Stephen King book, well, me, but even sometimes when I read any book, you'll read and you'll be like, wait, who was that guy? And you flip back a few couple pages, you're like, oh yeah, he was with right, and then you flip back. So yeah.
Yeah, I only ever listen to Stephen King books, so or any book. I only listen to books. Don't read.
Well, I read them.
Oh, you read.
I do need. I've been thinking about it. I need to get Audible now, especially where I work. I can listen to one.
Oh yeah, you should.
So I was thinking I need to get an audio. So we've gotten our complaints out, right?
Yeah.
I really have no complaints when it comes to books because I don't read and I haven't listened to them on audiobook yet. So I think did you already talk about what you like about his books?
Yeah, mostly I like the characters and the interaction where he puts people in these situations together. See, he does a lot of my favorite storyline of any book of any author is when you have people from different walks of life all get thrown into a situation together, and he does a lot of that. Yeah. And I like that.
And I assume that's basically the same with you too.
Oh yeah.
What you said.
He's also good at with the creepiness. He's really good at focusing on why the character themselves is scared, and that increases your own fear while you're reading it. Like you can write a scary thing happening to a person, but when he's focusing on why they're scared, so much in their own head, it just makes you more just like I feel like I'm in their head, and therefore I'm also being chased by this monster.
And I feel like that's why sometimes his stuff doesn't translate as well to movies. Because so much of what happens in his books is in the mind of the person, and it's hard to you lose a lot of that in the
Yeah.
What was the question?
I enjoy his movies.
Well,
yeah, they're great movies.
Yeah,
so. But they're missing a fundamental aspect of the books that make them great.
Yeah. Now I think they've obviously done a lot better job of making his movies in the last 10 years or so. I mean, they used to. Some of the movies weren't so great, or even the ones that were good. Like I like his book Dreamcatcher. I really like the book. The movie, I really like the movie, the beginning part of it. I like where you're getting to know the four guys and their friendships and how they know that the little boy and what's going on with all that, But then, and their humor with each other and everything, because that's similar to the book. But then as the movie Dreamcatcher.
Oh, Mr. B.
But then as it progresses, I feel like in the movie, there's a lot of weird stuff that suddenly comes at you and you're like, what? Whereas in the book, it's a slower progression. And I think that happens in general in books. It's a slower progression, so it just makes more sense because you're gradually getting into it. It's not all of a sudden like, oh, and he's an alien. What?
I will say, Dreamcatcher has the best alien ejecting itself out of a man's butthole scene in any movie ever. So if you're looking for a list, that should be at the top of the list of aliens removing themselves from the human body through
I did not like how Morgan Freeman is the bad guy. or playing.
Morgan Freeman, a bad guy?
Yeah, he's like the general.
I
or
guess
whatever,
I'd never seen this movie
Oh.
because I would remember the
Well,
alien.
It's good, but see, but that's one of the movies where whenever I watch it, because they have a scene where the one of the main characters, he's got like this whole library in his head, all these files, how he just organizes his thoughts and stuff and his memories and whatever. But how he does that kind of controls the plot. Like it has some interaction with the plot and what's actually going on in the real world and stuff. And that all makes sense in the book. But in the movie, they all of a sudden have this scene where he's running around doing like, and you're like, where is he? He's in his own head? What? You know? And so much of Stephen King stuff, like, the book is better because it's a slower progression. You get more detail, and he's just able to explain what's going on in people's heads and stuff. And it's hard to put a lot of that in a movie.
Plus, anything could make sense if they're just telling it to you.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
and that's why the book
Yeah.
is.
An octopus stole my cop car. You know, that makes sense with the words I said, but then if I
Right.
try to, like, show you that...
If you just see
Yeah,
an
you're like, what?
octopus driving a cop car, you're like, what? Yeah.
I
What do you
like,
have to say, Rick?
I don't remember an alien going through somebody's butthole.
Ricky's just stuck on the alien.
I'm stuck in the alien.
But those guys are funny in the beginning. Like, I really laugh a lot at that movie. Their interaction, their jokes with each other. They're just
what?
in Dreamcatcher.
I remember the two scenes.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I was
you
a
remember
child.
the alien butthole.
I was a child during
Oh,
this
that's
movie.
true.
I remember Mr. Ray or whatever.
What?
Someone does
I
that.
didn't let my children watch it. I don't know where you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who are you?
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah, you didn't. Just like you didn't let your horror-loving son watch Scream. Say, make sure you put the blanket over your head during the scary parts. Never did that. Not once. Never reminded me of nothing. Bye.
I was watching the movie. I had time to see what you were doing.
Drew Barrymore is getting skewered.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to look over at you at the best parts?
It's like there's a book that is not very well known of his book. Well, maybe it's well known. I never hear anybody talk about it, and it's one of my favorite books, Insomnia. And
I couldn't get into that one.
Huh?
I couldn't get into
You
it.
couldn't get into that one?
I couldn't get past the first scene.
That's the one with the guy who's got the colored lights. You can see the color
Yeah.
lights on people.
Yeah.
In
And
the
It's not really
beginning,
interesting.
he's like driving, and
that is interesting.
It sounded
Yeah.
really interesting when you were talking about when you were reading it.
Oh, yeah. He's what?
the beginning he's driving, and there's some dude that like
Is freaking
runs
out.
over another dude or something.
Well, at first it begins with the clock. He's just listening to the clock and the death clock, and basically he's got insomnia. He's coming down with insomnia because his wife died, and he's got depression, and his insomnia just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. He starts seeing things, the auras and all that, and then he thinks he's just losing it. Turns out there's this whole story of things that go on around us all the time, but he only just starts seeing them because he's in this altered mental state because of this horrible insomnia he has.
Oh, it's like Donnie Darko.
I don't know. I never saw Donnie Darko.
It's like that. He starts seeing these little aliens leading everybody. They're like these little orbs in front of people, and everybody's on these like telekinetic leashes, and we're all really being controlled by these little orbs. And then he starts being able to see them, like in front of everybody.
Well, he starts seeing stuff, but it's not little orbs.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But like in that book, I mean, like I think, or at least me anyway, I just right off the bat, like you just care about this little old man. You just feel sorry for him. You're just like, oh, this poor little guy. I hope he's gonna be okay. And then so that makes you interested in the book because you're like, I hope he's.
Oh,
you know.
that's why I can't get into the book because I don't give a fuck about that guy.
Because empathy.
I don't really care about
Yeah.
that dude.
Fuck empathy and compassion. If this country's got too much of something, it's empathy and compassion.
100%.
I recently read Desperation and the Regulators, and it took me. I read Desperation first, and then the only character in the Regulators whose name I knew was Intragian because he was also in Desperation.
Right, because it's the same demon.
Right,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
But I don't learn people's names. I barely know what's happening half the time. I don't really.
Okay.
I listen to them for the scary stuff. That's all I care about.
It's interesting how people can read the same book or watch the same movie and come away with completely different things that they got out of it, you know? Because I didn't enjoy Desperation and The Regulators as much as his other books.
Really?
Yeah, because I was so worried about the characters.
Oh.
You know?
Okay.
I was overly worried. It was like when I was watching...
Try not learning their names. You'll be less worried about it.
Have you tried not giving a fuck?
It was like when I was watching The Walking Dead. I was like so stressed out. I was like, are these people going to be okay at some point? God, I can't sleep.
It's like, I need that baby and that little boy to be fine.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So, but anyway, yeah, so.
I need to catch up on Walking Dead.
I know, right?
So there's characters, and I think he's really good at making you care about his characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because especially because like in Needful Things, there's that character Nettie. Mm-hmm. And Jesus Christ!
I know you want her to just be okay. Yeah.
She's just like nice. She's got a little mental problem, but that wasn't her fucking fault.
Right.
What thing did she have?
I don't think.
What thing did she have? What are you talking about?
She had the. I think she was the glass lamp.
Needful things?
The glass lamp.
Yeah, the Tiffany. Yeah, the carnival glass.
Yeah, the carnival glass.
What thing does she have? The book's called Needful Things.
Did you read Needful Things?
I read that.
Oh, yeah, she
got the
carnival
fishing
glass.
pole.
And that one they made.
I feel bad for that guy too.
That one they made a movie, and I think it was a made-for-TV movie.
Wait, they made a Needful Things movie?
Yeah, and it's good.
Like in the 80s, like.
Yeah, it's one of those. See, that's the weird thing. Okay, I have two different.
It needs to be updated.
I have two different classifications for Stephen King movies, whether they're good or not, because I have some that I think are good, like the new It ones that came out, that are just really good movies.
Dr. Sleep.
And Dr. Sleep, and some of those. And then I have some that I really like, but I don't think it's because they're necessarily great movies. It's because I watched them, I really like the story, they feel nostalgic, but I don't, and Needful Things is like that. Like, it's like the first It and the first Stand, the ones they made for TV, I like them. I like them, but I don't think it's because they're so great. It's just because I just like them.
Right.
So we have the Quentin Tarantino category of actually good movies, and then the Tremors category.
Right. I just really like this movie. It's not a great movie, but I really like it. Yeah.
I enjoy it. I know it's terrible, but I enjoy it.
Off topic. What's wrong with the Tremors movies?
No, they're good.
They are cult classics.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin Bacon is so funny in that.
I love those movies.
Kevin Bacon driving 100 miles an hour in the desert, hoping that
what the hell is going on?
We run like goddamn bastards.
You have long legs. Football like damn.
She got that white stuff. I don't know.
And then he ends up actually loving it. So well.
Yeah.
Well, shared trauma kind of brings people together.
Yeah. But see, the Stephen King movies are like that. There's actual really good movies, and then the ones that you like because you like them, but
because you just
they're not. Yeah. And the Needful Things movie is like that category. I like it, but it's not really. But the book is really, really good. And same thing. You feel for some of the characters, and you're like, well, even like the little boy. I mean, the scene where he blows himself away, it's like, oh my.
In front of his brother.
Spoilers, by the way.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. This book is like 40 years old. Okay.
By now? It came out in like 1986 or something.
Well, some people were born in 1987.
Well, grow up already.
It's like you're not really a fan.
They have it in the regulators too.
You didn't come out reading the Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, but
what's our next topic?
Anyway, that is one of my favorite ones.
That is my favorite Stephen King story.
Since we kind of segue,
one of my favorite stories, just in general, like up there with like Harry Potter and Gregor the Overlander.
Yeah, it's really. Oh, and you know what? I got one more thing to say about Needful Things, though. I did not catch this until I had read the book, and maybe it's because I read the book when I was younger. But I didn't catch this until I was listening to it on Audible. That all of that stuff is crap. Like, I don't know how I didn't catch that the first time I read this book, because it's clearly in there. But maybe because this is probably one of those books that I read back when I was like in middle school or something. Mm-hmm. But I always thought the stuff that was nice stuff and nobody else could just see it, I didn't get, or maybe I got it at the time and then had just forgotten. But I always think that's such a neat twist to that story when you realize, the moment when you realize, oh, this stuff is all junk.
Oh, especially like, the girl with the piece of wood that's close away from the ark, and then it's like got mold and it's covered in fleas.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that.
Because that's.
And she's been cuddling
like actual junk?
Yeah. Like they're not.
I thought you were just like you were saying that like at the end of the book. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, this whole story's junk.
Oh no!
Like, what?
People are going into the store and finding these treasures that they've looked for their whole life. It's a perfect thing for them, and they just love this thing, and they're willing to do anything for it. and he gets everybody in the town playing tricks on each other as a price for paying for these things that he's selling them.
Right.
And the things keep escalating to where the whole fucking town is at war by the end of the book. But and that's, I guess, why that hits you. When you find out that all the stuff is junk, you're like, they went through all this and that stuff's not even the stuff. It's just this crap. You know.
Why don't we talk about movies a little bit?
Okay.
And maybe I'll even have more to say myself.
Dr. Sleep is great.
Yep.
I have yet to see that one all the way through.
What? Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember.
Well, I was about to spoil the ending, so...
Well, don't spoil the ending for something.
Well...
Everybody who's watching this is interested in Stephen King. They've read all of his stuff.
Or watched it.
He hasn't watched it. He's the one.
Oh.
He doesn't want me to spoil it. Alright, have you read The Shining? Have you read the book The Shining?
Oh, I've listened to it, yeah.
So then I can't say the thing I was going to say.
Oh.
Do you care how Dr. Sleep ends?
I mean, people say it's really good.
It is really good.
Speaking of movies, hold the phone. Alright, here we go. So, I think that I've got a few that I think are so good. And Carrie...
Alright, then we'll start off with everybody's favorite movie.
Alright, let me look at my list, make sure I come up with my all-time
Guest of honor
favorite.
can go first, and then we'll go to
I'm going to go with...
Bailey, what's your favorite scary movie?
I'm going to go...
You can say all that's on your list. Just
okay.
Don't go in like a
All right, I got a long list.
Say a quick reasoning of why, basically.
I'm going to start with Carrie.
Okay.
And I am not one of those people that's like, oh, the old one's good, the new one sucks. I thought the new one, the weird one with the tattoo, that one was crap. But
Carrie, to new Carrie or whatever, new.
But I think I like the new one that they made recently with what's her face, not Julie Louise Dreyfus. Yeah, the girl from Seinfeld. Remember she was Carrie? That was weird. Anyway.
Get out! And you fly across the room.
I won the prom queen, and then he pulled it out.
He pulled it out. He took it out.
He took it out.
Stop, please.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say I don't hate the new one. I think the new one's fine. But the old one with Sissy Spacek is just good.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's because of Sissy Spacek. I mean, that scene where she is walking down the thing with the blood and her eyes are so big and she looks like she fucking lost it. Like I would if you told me, you know what, in that scene, that actress actually went crazy and killed a bunch of people, I'd be like, yeah, she looks like it.
Yeah. I'm actually watching a psychotic break.
Yeah.
Like, her psyche is in pieces and she's leaving them and each one on a step.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's your next one?
Oh, well, I just also wanted to say another thing I didn't get until I've seen it a few times is the first few times I watched that movie, I thought everybody was laughing at her, and I was like, what a bunch of fucking assholes. It didn't get it until later. I was like, oh, she's thinking they're laughing at her because she's so used to people laughing at her. They're not the only one laughing is that one dumb bitch with the hat. Who the fuck wears a baseball hat with their prom dress, I'd like to know, and why are you laughing at somebody?
When everyone else is stunned.
Yeah, everybody else is just like, holy shit.
But, like you said, she loses her mind.
Yeah.
So,
so she's
her mind's pulling a trick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I never got that. I always thought the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, they're all just still laughing at her. But
I think the new one did a better way, because you're probably talking about the old one, right?
I'm talking about the old one.
Yeah. So the new one kind of pulled that off a little bit better for me because I didn't really realize it till the new one, because if I remember correctly, there's a scene where they are laughing. And then there's a scene where it's not like her POV. It's like her friend's POV or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like everybody else is just quiet.
Yeah.
So it wait, I thought they were just laughing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think the newer one kind of pulls it. And yeah, anybody who thinks that the newer one completely sucks, it has its issues. Just like every remake.
You completely suck.
Get your head out of your ass. Not every movie is going to be 100% perfect.
Well, I think because the first one was so good, because Sissy Spacek did such a good job, that it's not going to measure up to that. But it doesn't mean that it's not good.
Right.
It's just not.
Well, I think the person that played her mother in the new one did really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the girl I was trying to... she's in Hannibal. What's her name?
She's in Silence of the Lambs, I think, right?
No, that's Jodie Foster.
Oh, no, she's in... Yeah, that's Jodie Foster.
She's in Hannibal.
Is it the lady from Crazy Stupid Love?
Yeah. What's her name again?
She's the lady from Crazy Stupid Love.
Julie...
Or Hannibal.
Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore, that's her name.
But she did a really good job playing her crazy mother.
Yeah.
Like, you have to give her that. She did do really well.
Laugh at you.
Yeah.
I want that to be my ringtone. Just, we're all gonna laugh at you.
And that ending scene between the two movies, I do like the original because you are watching a person, their brain, their psyche snap in half, and them just having the reaction and other people just unfortunately being in the way. But in the second one, I find it, as a person who was bullied, I find it much more satisfying as it, because I remember you saying when that first came out, you didn't care for that scene as much because she's getting more motion, like she seems more purposeful in what she's doing to everyone. And I was like, well, yeah, get it, girl. Kill him. So like,
well, I mean, I can see
so
that
I do like both. They are different, but I do like them for different reasons.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times going to high school somebody bullied me or whatever, and I watched a horror movie and envisioned their face on the person getting their head cut off.
Right?
You know, like it's anybody who thinks horror movies creates violence. I never killed any of them. I imagined it, never did it.
Yeah.
So I'm the exception to your rule, so that proves that you're not right.
What do they say? Horror movies don't create killers. They make killers more creative.
Yeah. So what's your next one?
So let's see. I like The Stand. I like the book. Obviously, I like the book the best of The Stand. But of the movies, that's
that's my favorite Stephen King book.
It's a really good story, yeah.
Specifically the first half when everything's going to shit. Before it even gets to the story.
Yeah.
Just the first half when the world's crumbling, that's my favorite writing
That's
ever.
my favorite part too, and I think it's because the characters are also raw. And
Who cares about the book when you got Gary Sinise playing?
Well, and that's what I was going to say about
one
the
of the
movies.
underrated actors of all time, in my opinion.
He's he's
Lieutenant Dan!
You ain't got no legs,
Oh.
Lieutenant Dan. I know that. The Stand is one of them where I like the old one and I like the new one. I like them both. I think they're very
I
different.
have yet to watch the new one.
Oh, I thought it was good. Whoopi Goldberg is Mother Abigail. And,
I've heard it was really good.
I heard somebody was talking about they didn't like the new one because they thought the scenes in Vegas were too I don't know, that people having sex everywhere and different things. It's like, yeah, but that's you take all the
Never been
people,
to Vegas?
Well, yeah, Vegas as it is. But all of the people who want to follow the Dark Man go to Vegas. Like, all those people are there. All the people that want to follow the sweet little are in a different place. Like, what do you think it would be like?
Right.
Well,
like, I mean, they're working hard in the book. They're getting the lights on. They're getting their act together. And they're doing that in the movie, too. They didn't lose that part. It's just like in the scenery, people are... And actually, I took it in the movie, I took it more like that's part of them getting the lights on and getting their act together, basically. Like, I think the Dark Man was like, I need my people to be happy. I need some entertainment. I'm going to set this shit up like this.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how
I didn't see either of the movies, either of the miniseries or whatever. But in the book, it didn't seem like he really cared what people thought of him. You know, he was more like, I felt like he kind of structured the society the way that I would imagine like a Nazi thing or something like that, where it's like very structured and militant, and you're gonna do what your higher ups tell you, and there's no if you go out of line at all, they're just gonna kill you. Yeah. So there wouldn't be a bunch of like wild hooligan behavior.
Well, see, and that's why, and I think that's what the person who didn't like those scenes was saying.
I think I was the person that you were talking to that didn't.
You didn't see it. But I took it.
Saw a trailer though.
I took it like I didn't really take it the way they did it in the movie. To me, anyway, it didn't look like people were just out of line. It looked more like it was structured fornication or whatever you want to call it, like in certain areas as a part of controlling people.
Structured fornication is my metal band. If you guys want to check that out on iTunes or Spotify, go ahead.
Not true.
But if you want to control a big group of people who don't have any really good, none of them have a really good internal moral compass or anything, how do you do it? You do it by fear and by giving them reward, by fear and reward.
Right.
And I felt like that's what they were portraying in that. There's your reward part.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Alright. These next ones we gotta just hit like bullet points.
Oh, are we almost? Well, see, that's why we gotta do another one when that movie comes out.
True.
Alright, so, obviously, bullet points. I got a lot to say.
Well, I can't have a 4-hour podcast.
Obviously, The Green Mile is amazing, and anybody that can watch the last scene where he's getting killed, if you didn't see it, well, you should have fucking saw it. Anyway, the guy gets killed. If you can watch that without crying, you have no heart.
I can't even watch the scene where he's trying to pee without crying. So
that's a good movie.
Yeah, Shawshank Redemption. You ever do the Shawshank Redemption? Just go outside when it's raining and just be like, yeah.
I do the Shawshank Redemption where I was here in the rafters and then I jump off and
So Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, Secret Window. That's great with Johnny Depp.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a Stephen King. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's one of his short stories.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
My story.
And that's another one that I really like how the ending, and sometimes I watch this stuff and I think maybe I'm just slow. I don't know. Like I didn't get it that he's how falling apart he is the whole time until his wife shows up and she's like, what the hell? This place is trash, but it doesn't look trash to him.
Sorry.
And like I didn't get that it's been trash the whole time. There's no cleaning lady there. And none of that. That's all in his head. Just like the other guys in his head and all that.
The guy's name was Shooter the whole time.
Misery.
Great.
I love Misery.
I mean, you gotta love Misery.
Yep. She is
the fucking sledgehammer scene alone.
Oh, I cannot watch. You cannot watch that scene without going ooh, pulling your feet up.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Misery, oh my god. Okay, so Castle Rock. I feel like we have to bring that up because of the Stephen King show.
Afraid.
Oh.
Season 1, as we know, is I know you liked it, but everyone else thought it was slow and boring, and no one really understood what was happening.
I like how you said it. I know you liked it, but everybody else thought it was slow and boring.
Well, because again, they were trying to do that thing that is really hard to do with Stephen King books and things, where you're trying to they're trying to get into the minds, and we're talking.
And fucking excuse you.
Trying to get into their heads and not being able to convey that on a TV screen.
Right.
But fucking season 2 of Castle Rock was awesome.
Oh
my
season 2 was
god!
great.
I could not believe how much the juxtaposition between season 1 and season 2 was. Oh my god! Yeah. The ice cream scoop. I was like, holy shit! Like
The what?
The
ice cream scoop.
The ice cream scoop scene.
Oh yeah.
When he's like, I don't know what he says, but he's like, I'm gonna ruin your situation. And she's like, absolutely fucking not. And this tiny little mousy girl kills this 200-pound guy with a ice cream scoop. Oh god.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched those. I should watch those again because I can't remember all the everything that happened in that. But
that's shame because no one saw season 2 because no one thought.
Did you watch season 2? It's very Salem's Lot.
I know I know I watched all that was on. It was a while ago now. It's been like a couple of years now since.
Right, and then I'm doing the season 3, so kind of forget about it.
That's another thing I like about Stephen King. I like how he has stories that are in the same town. You got Castle Rock. There's 3 or 4 stories that are in Derry or tied to characters that are in Derry. That's kind of neat. Gives it like a sense of realness. Like, oh yeah, don't go to that fucking place. That place is fucked up.
What's the other one next to Derry?
I think it was just Castle Rock and Derry.
No, there's another one next to Derry.
Oh.
It's not where... I don't know.
They call me Screechy Cult Joe because I like to bring things to a screeching halt. So I'm sticking to
the needful things. I like because they do there are callbacks to stuff. He mentions like the story of Cujo and like kind of explains like she has to go to some place and bury a thing where that happened. And she's like looking in this barn,
right?
And into the darkness, she's like, "Well, is that dog still fucking there?"
Right, yeah.
Or in 1973 or whatever.
Oh, the one where he goes back in time.
Yeah.
11/22/63.
Yeah, 11/22/63 when he goes to Derry and he's talking about he keeps looking in the sewers or whatever, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
I forgot.
But Jesus fucking
that's crazy. It's something's dark there, and I'm never coming back to this town. This is fucking silly.
I forgot that one was tied in with it too. Yeah.
And it just is the same thing with like why I love the MCU so much is like how it's interconnected and like you don't realize that unless like you're paying attention.
Right. Also, a movie that I really like that doesn't get talked about a lot, and I realize some of the effects are not the greatest in the world. It was made back in the 80s, but the acting is great and the story is great. Thinner.
Thinner
Yeah,
is a good
Thinner.
movie.
I love that movie.
I was gonna thinking about bringing up a topic of underrated, and that was gonna be one of my underrated movies.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't hear many people.
Yeah, now a lot of people don't know that one, but it's really
so good.
Yeah. I love that line where he's just like, I'm being erased.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, like I like how he had like when that one gypsy chick shoots the rock through his hand because it's so thin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just instantly goes into like instead of just being like, I got there, you bitch, what the hell?
Right.
You know, it's just, he like acts like he's putting a curse on them.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Turns it around, and of course they laugh at him, and then he gets his friend. And his friend, well, who's the actor that played?
The guy in Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
The older guy, the
Agent Rossi.
Agent
Rossi, yep.
He's really good in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I would say that's one of his underrated.
The guy he got out of prison, basically.
Yeah, kept out of prison from. Yeah. Yeah, he's a gangster.
I'll do like that line though. It's like, I finally found a diet that works. Eat everything you want, still lose the weight.
Speaking of the underrated, I really like the Langoliers.
Oh.
I don't know.
That's
it's not a good movie, but it's a fascinating movie.
I can't remember. Are the people on the airplane or at the airport?
Time freezes. You guys ripping the paper. Or whatever with the paper.
Stuff like that.
I forgot about that one.
Is this a Stephen King movie?
Yeah.
But it was like made for TV movie, so like
well,
it is like the CG, like the worst CGI.
Stories.
Wow.
And like they get lost in a time rift, and they kind of don't exist in time, and
they get stuck. They get frozen in time.
Right, and they have to figure it out before the thing that eats what has already happened comes and eats the past.
Yeah, the Langoliers eat the past,
and they're like little fuzzballs with teeth.
Imagine furry Pac-Man.
Yeah, just eating reality.
Oh wait, I know. Okay, the guy have like saw teeth. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Wow, you think that's underrated, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's underrated. The guy with the notebook paper that's like,
because it's not scary. It's
ripping it.
Because when I watched it, I was
crazy.
laughing. So it's a funny movie.
Well, because it's one that's like hilariously bad.
Yeah.
And that's what you're laughing at.
Right.
You guys didn't think the paper thing was freaky? Maybe I was 6.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I remember the fuzzy Pac-Mans, and I remember the guy spit his sandwich out because it tasted like nothing.
The uppity dude with the suit on, he goes off by himself, and then he gets this notebook, and he tears out pieces of notebook paper, and then like tears them in half slowly, going down the middle of the paper, and he's like really enjoying it way too much. And you're like, ugh.
I was blocking that shit out.
It's like that scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre where the old guy's sucking on the girl's finger, and you're just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy Knockers, is that good?
I like that one. That's one of them that.
Tommy Knockers.
Tommy Knockers.
That's a real thing.
Tommy Knockers, knocking on your door.
Tommy Knockers sounds like the guy who invented Hooters.
Tommy Knockers. That was good.
Bailey, I'm Penny Blaze.
There's like an alien spaceship
so we
or
could
something.
play like
and
funny sounds when someone gets a Roman zinger off.
Happening. It's got Jimmy Smits in it. It was made back in the 80s. It's one of those that falls into the category of I really like it, not because it's a good movie, but just because sometimes you like watching a movie.
Tommy Knockers?
Yeah.
Is that one also space climate?
Yeah, it's like there's a spaceship or something.
There's like it's like
whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like an X-Files kind of thing.
It's Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but
not really.
What happened to the citizens?
So I got a couple of more book things, real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So in the book Cell, which I know a lot of people don't like that book, but I thought I liked it. What I liked about it was I like how the thing spreads. There's like I don't know if it's a virus, what it is, but people go crazy and like kill themselves or kill somebody else or something when they get this thing. But the way it spreads is through the cell phone. So like, which I thought that was really clever because one person sees somebody else freaking on the street. What's the first thing you do? You pick up your phone and you call somebody.
Right.
Hey, look what. So then it spreads, and then they, I thought that was clever. I've never seen that in another thing. I really like Duma Key. That's one of his books you don't hear much about, but I think it's really good. It's a guy is recuperating from an injury, and he goes to this beach town. He's like a I think he's an author, so he's got plenty of money. He's not worried about money. He's just kind of trying to recuperate in this house that he's renting down in Florida, on Duma Key Island or whatever. I don't know how that Florida Keys work exactly, if they're islands, what they are. Anyway, he starts painting, and he starts being really good. And there's this whole thing of, as you get into the books, like, how come, is him painting? Is something painting through him? What's going on? Kind of thing. It's good. I like it. Yeah. But that's not a book you hear talked about a lot. But I really liked it. I also really like Joyland. That's another thing. That's another one you don't hear much about. But that's about a kid working at a part-time job at a amusement park, like one of those permanent ones, like on a pier.
Oh, okay.
And there's like a murder, and I really don't remember all that happened, but I remember really enjoying that book.
It's a murder.
And Sleeping Beauties, which is the one, I think he wrote that one with his son.
Okay.
And I really like how it ends because it's one of those endings where it's like, oh, I wish it didn't have to end like that, but you think, yeah, that is how it would end. Can I go ahead and spoil the...
I've already said
All right.
Spoilers in the future because I'm tired of saying spoilers.
So in the story, all the women all of a sudden start not waking up. They go to bed, and their husbands or boyfriends or whoever find them the next day just covered in like a cocoon, basically. And they're not dead, but they're just in this thing, and nobody knows what's going on. Meanwhile, all the women they're conscious. They're in this other place where it's just the women. And their consciousnesses, or whatever, how you say that, start building a life for themselves. They're stuck there, so they start building a life. And it's really nice because there's no men, there's no rape, there's no crime, there's no, like, the women are just getting along and doing their thing and, figuring things out. And so then it comes to, a lot of stuff goes on, but at the end, there ends up being a thing where all the women can come back, or none of the women can come back, but it either has to be all or none. And so as a group, they decide what they're going to do. And they decide to come back for the sake of the women that have sons that they love. Because they're like, as mothers, we can't abandon our children, and your sons are over there. We're all going to go back so you can be with your children. Which I think is what would happen. But at the same time, in the book, you're like, but a lot of them don't really want to because they're enjoying living without men around.
I was going to say, you telling me there's not at least one, like, lesbian couple that's like, fuck you,
Well,
I don't give a shit.
Well, no, they do have a lesbian couple, I think, in there too, and that comes up too. But even them are like, well, we understand.
Well, I mean, give it a few years, they'll all be lesbian couples.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But anyway, so I liked how that book ends. It's one of those endings where you're like, oh, I wish I could be happy for them, and they could just be. But that is what would happen probably.
Yeah.
Women would say, yeah, we're gonna go back because your kids are there. Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, I feel like that's the happy ending.
Joey's like, I want my mom to go back.
Yeah. The whole premise of that
wanna come back.
conversation.
She's like, what? I don't have to worry about I'm not doing this damn homework again.
that whole thing was framed as, oh, that's a book with a terrible ending because it's super sad, and you're like, yeah, and then all the women rejoin their families, and it's terrible.
Against their will.
Well, now it's like good and I don't know. I guess it's good and bad, which is I think
unfortunate.
Which is one of the things Stephen King does well. I think he doesn't, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like his books, because he doesn't present this whole just one book. He doesn't present the world as, oh, here's this shiny, oh, look at the human race, aren't we great? And he puts up a mirror to the human race and says, oh, you think you're all bright and shiny? You're not.
Right.
There's a monster, yeah, but the real monster is some of you people.
Like in Carrie. Carrie's not really the bad person.
No, she's a sweet girl that...
Somebody trying to live their life
Yeah.
that has an insane Christian mother who doesn't tell her about nothing about life, so, she freaks out with the littlest things in a way, because she's not taught that that's how things are, you know.
Well, and like that...
Proven right at the beginning of the whole movie. I don't know if in the book it starts the same way, but in the movie it's right off the bat you understand, okay, something's wrong with this girl because she doesn't even know what this is, what's happening.
That movie, it's been a long time since I read the book, but that movie, I would say, follows the book pretty closely.
Yeah.
From his book to movies, that one... close, yeah.
I remember the first time we watched Carrie. You're like, alright, cover your eyes for like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, 5 minutes?! Like, shit!
It's like,
you want me to come back in the middle of the movie?
yeah, it's like, do you want me to watch this?
Go fuck off my podcast.
Yeah. Go ahead and leave all this in.
We're going to be talking about another hour. You made me.
Well, we got other categories going. I had category ideas.
Oh, all right.
But like best movie, I didn't realize. Like favorite movie, I didn't realize meant every damn movie. Holy crap! Like I have my favorites. I like every movie, but I obviously have like a couple favorites.
Oh, well, I like all these movies.
Well, I guess then I guess we can move up. Like, what's your least favorite?
Whoa,
Steven?
the rest of us haven't even said our favorites.
Yeah.
What is this?
You're the one that's got a list taking all the time!
All right, Sammy, what's your favorite Stephen King movie? Because
Oh, movie?
yeah, what book?
Probably it. Well, my favorite book, is Needful Things. That's just one of my favorite stories,
right.
just in general. But my favorite movie would probably be the new It movies. Did I have to pick
Oh,
one of
yeah.
them? Probably the one with the kids. I like kids better. Kids facing adversity is like guaranteed to be like one of my favorite things.
I really like Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep is really good.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of books, it was the best book because it does that fucking Fight Club thing where it gets in your head, and that's my favorite thing in books.
I need to read this book because I keep hearing some weird shit about his book.
Well, there's like scenes where he's like, where like Pennywise isn't referring to anything specific. He just refers to like he's trying to freak out their character Richie. This is a specific scene actually, and he's like talking to Richie, and he's like, everyone knows about it. They're all gonna find out about it or whatever.
Mm.
But he's not saying what it is, and so it like gets into your head of like, oh, what's my like,
Right.
you know?
They find out about me. Yeah.
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 And Fight Club does like similar stuff. And if you don't like Chuck Palahniuk, you should read him. He's really good too. Stephen King and Chuck Palahniuk are the two best authors. So
I like the movie Fight Club.
pretty good.
But you already break the first rule. Why are you talking about Fight Club?
Well,
Last time we'll ever see you now.
read Choke. Choke's amazing.
Yeah, I really like the pacing in the book Needful Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't drag, but it goes at a nice pace to where you gradually are like, oh, things are not going to go well for these people.
It's so gradual. Well, yeah, because it's so gradual. Because you don't see the climax coming
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. Like you suddenly everything's about to happen. You're like, when did this? Wait, what happened? How did this?
Right.
You're not quite sure. Like, at what point this shit got real.
Right. And
Give
you
me
know,
like
I
my
think
brain right now when I'm trying to figure out how do we get back on books again.
Yeah. What is this? The Needful Things topic day or what?
I was just gonna say one thing about the Salem's Lot book, and it's the same kind of similar thing. Like you've got, the main vampire shows up, and he bites this guy, and he bites this girl, and then she goes to her mom, and he goes to his best friend, and all the things, and
Spreads like a
it
virus.
doesn't. You see you're getting to know the town, you're getting to know the people in the town, and you're gradually just, this is gradually kind of happening, and then all of a sudden it's almost like, bam, there's more vampires than people all of a sudden, and the people who are fighting against it is like, oh, well, good luck, because things just shifted. And it's like gradual, but all of a sudden...
Right,
yeah.
and you don't notice. It's just like, but when? How did this sneak up on me?
Which is how it would be if you were living in the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just feel like going to get milk and be like, why am I being attacked by vampires?
Yeah.
It's like, why is the grocery store not open?
Yeah, you see one and you're like, oh, vampires exist? And then you're like, oh, the whole town's vampires.
Yeah. That's quite the psyche jump.
Yeah. So movies. Back to movies.
My favorite. Did you say your favorite?
My favorite movie or book?
Movie. God, can we stay on we did the book topic.
All right,
For an hour and some minutes.
He is an author. I don't know.
Well, I understand this, but I can't have. You guys can just have episode 2. I'll just, I love how the beginning, before we started this whole thing, Mom's like, so you're gonna moderate it. Fucking gonna try. Jesus.
This is how the life goes with me. It's like, okay, you had. Oh, that's enough of you.
So favorite movie on me?
Yeah.
Hitch, probably. And if not Hitch, then the Hot Tub Time Machine was pretty good.
I hate you. Why?
I like both of those movies a lot. I don't know really which one's better than the other.
Why do I invite you?
Probably Hitch. Hitch is good.
Oh.
Get a good soundtrack.
Yeah. All right, so movies on to you, Rick.
Okay, well, My 2 all-time go-to are Maximum Overdrive, obviously. I
always forget about that one when I'm thinking of his movies.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, you'll hear more about that.
I also don't have that one.
I'm not going to get too much into it during this topic because you're going to hear more about it in the next topic. But Maximum Overdrive, and then The Shining. I still really like watching the Kubrick Shining. Like, I know Stephen King himself didn't like it. I liked it. And at the end of the day, it's still his story being told.
When it comes to The Shining, I like the book, and I like the movie, and I almost have to think of them as completely different stories.
The movie is a Stanley Kubrick movie. It's not Stephen King.
But it's still a Stephen King story.
It's a Stephen King story, but it's so different.
Counts.
It's so different. I can't enjoy the movie if I'm comparing it to the book because I understand Stephen King's viewpoint of in the book. The dad is such a good dad at the beginning. I mean, and it says that no, he's closer to the little kid in the beginning than the mom is.
Well, he has a history of abusing the kids still at the beginning of the book.
He's got a drinking problem, but but he's still a good dad. He wants to be a good dad.
The desire's there, I guess.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the look like Jack Nicholson's like,
he's not
why do we still
have
him? Why did we not send him to adoption agency?
Right.
And
he's not
so the book is
white
about
knuckling the steering wheel.
Right, I'm going to drive us off a cliff. And that was, because I just heard Stephen King talking about this on a thing on Shudder. And he was talking about the thing I've always felt like, Jack Nicholson looks like he wants to kill him on the way up to the fucking hotel. Yeah. Whereas in the book, it's such a gradual, and that's the whole point of the story, is this whole gradual from this good guy to this, not good guy. So I have to think of him as really different. I don't.
So you probably like the made-for-TV version movie then?
Of The Shining?
Yeah. There's 2 Shinings.
I don't know.
There's this more known Stanley Kubrick Shining. And then they made a for TV adaptation.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that. Is that out now? Like it's a recent thing? Or
no, it's been around maybe early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
When the first resurgence of remakes for Stephen King movies were coming out.
Who plays in it?
Some guy I don't like. I don't know his name. I never liked anything he's in, to be honest.
Well, he was always.
But it's a very slow. It's more of a slower. And he looks more like a dad who would actually like his son, not than was in his mind.
Okay,
like in the book, he uses a mallet, not an axe, right?
Right. Yeah.
He mallet. In the TV movie, he uses a mallet.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I don't like it, and I probably won't like the book then because when I found out it was a mallet, because I just don't believe in oversized fucking croquet mallet. Maybe it's just because of the visual mallet they used in the movie. It just looks like an oversized croquet mallet or whatever that's.
Yeah, croquet.
Yeah. That's what it looks like to me in the movie, so maybe that's why it always bugs me.
I always thought that was a weird choice, croquet mallet. I mean, it's not the particularly
it's not
scary.
A croquet mallet.
What is it?
It's a roque mallet.
Oh, roque.
Oh.
But still.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
okay. I'm picturing your croquet. I was like, that's not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying they like you can tell they were trying to go for croquet, but the way like the paint job in it, I always saw the croquet mallet.
Oh.
Like it just looked like a really big.
Well, I think it's maybe a similar type of game, but maybe the mallets are bigger with the.
But point is, I always found an axe more believable.
Right.
Like
I'm definitely more scary.
What are you gonna do? Bugs Bunny me? Like what the fuck?
I like the roque mallet more than the axe. Because a roque mallet isn't a weapon. I feel like lots of things it's very easy to pick up an axe and want to kill someone with it.
Just looking at Jason. What do you think, Jason? You like a croquet? You like a roque mallet?
But to take the
Jason's
roque mallet,
to be fair, would fuck you up with a roque.
Right? Yeah, exactly. To take the roque mallet and because the intention of a roque mallet is fun, enjoyment, maybe silliness, a game.
Right.
To take that and then be like, and I'm going to murder my child with it.
Oh.
That is so much creepier to me than an axe.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, an axe coming at me, of course you're going to kill me with it. If you come at me with a roque mallet, I'm going to be confused first.
Right. Yeah.
Well, also, I just like the idea of, like, the hotel's talking to him, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, kill your family. And then he's like, but with what? And it's like, that thing right there.
Yeah.
It's like something that would be sitting there where he was.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever you can
more
get your
sense.
hands on, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm more worried about getting my limbs chopped up.
Yeah, but there's no axe sitting there. Why would there be an axe sitting there? He's in the middle of some game shit.
Shatter if emergency. You never seen those?
Well, yeah, but the hotel was built way back in the
exactly
1467s or whatever, and That's not true.
But I like that, how, yeah, that's a better representation of how the little kid would be seeing, because you're looking at your dad, and he doesn't seem like your dad anymore, but you're still a little kid, you're still looking at your dad, so you're confused.
Right.
So the Rook Mallet goes better with, well, you got like game, or what's going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that one and see. I'll have to see if it's on anything where. But I do like I like the Stanley Kubrick film. I just think of it as a completely different story than the book story.
Yeah.
Because it is so different. I just
I mean, just like a lot of other movies change a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm
not one of those people that's like.
Not like a purist where it's like it's not this way. Yeah.
Because when you read a book.
I just like Jack Nicholson, so
Yeah, he does. He does a really good. He's the best at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like somebody coming at you with an axe. Jack Nicholson's.
Like if they had somebody that looked close enough to Jack Nicholson but looked sane, and then they just switched him out halfway, you'd be like, oh, he lost his fucking mind.
Right. Yeah. But it's just Jack Nicholson cannot look crazy, so he's not that great at the beginning. It looks like he. Yeah.
That's why my childhood was so scary.
It looks like Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
I will say I like the ending of the book way better than the movie, because the hotel burns down. I think that's a lot more cathartic ending.
See, and I think that even happens in the TV version too. Either that, or it does one of those weird where it like just sucks itself into a void. Oh, it's like one of those two things.
Anyway, it disappears, which makes sense because at the beginning of your favorite, the
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep, the hotel's not actually there.
Yeah. It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just the land.
No, it's there. It's there.
I thought
because of the thing I was going to say earlier, but I can't spoil it for Sammy.
Oh.
You can close your ears and then I can say it. You want?
I guess I thought they were imagining.
He's mumbling it. He's mumbling or whatever. The ending of Doctor Strange is they burned down the hotel. The ending from The Shining is the ending of the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh.
I would also recommend Future Sam watch the movie before you watch this podcast.
Yeah.
Cover your ears again.
That's why I like Doctor Strange so much, because they fixed the ending from The Shining.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was thinking that they were imagining, like, almost like when people go to a haunted house and there's like, they're walking around in a whole wing and then they leave and they look back and that wing has been burnt down. They were like, what the hell happened? Yeah. I thought it was something like that for some reason.
No.
Sam, you're good.
We're good.
Good.
Well, you wouldn't hear us.
Alright, so what was your favorite?
Huh? Mine again?
Yeah.
I think we're on to the next
Overdrive and Shine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I think the next topic would be, what do you think is the worst Stephen King adapted movie?
Oh, that Salem's Lot with Rob Lowe. Jesus Christ. I
was going to say, I think we know yours from the beginning of this one.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw the first scene, and there was two characters that were fighting, that in the book, they're on the same side. I'm like, what the hell is it? It was just, the first scene was so dumb, I was like, I'm not even going to.
And it's like, nope.
Okay. Sam, what would you think would be the worst?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen a lot. If these things fairly quickly get reputations. If someone tells me that it's bad, I'm like not interested and I don't go see it. And so I've only I've seen the hits. So I don't have one.
Okay. Joe, do you have a?
I'd like to
well, I'm kind of in the same boat as Sammy, where I haven't really seen all of them.
You've seen the hits,
but
yeah. I was told it was good, so I went.
I will say,
any
if
hits
I had
that you didn't like,
well,
I don't like that.
Oh.
Well, you're not supposed to like them. I don't like the lady from The Mist.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Like, God, shut up and die. Off-brand Sally Field.
Off-brand Sally Field. How about you, Joe?
If I have any criticisms, I liked this movie, so it's not that I didn't like the movie. Just I have a gripe with kids acting. I just don't think they're very good, And so that new Firestarter movie was really good. Zac Efron's awesome. I don't know what the hell happened after High School Musical. He's a great actor now. It's crazy.
That was good. I did enjoy that. Yeah.
The little girl is not a very good actor.
Well, in the first one, it's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw the first one.
I've seen the original. I was going to say, I've seen this original.
I saw the one with the Zach got his head in the game.
I think the little kids. I think.
You learned from Hugh Jackman. Great show.
High School Musical.
Yeah.
Gotta get you.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh,
We were
I
talking
think
about how the boys are back.
I think the little kid actors in it are good.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't have a gripe with that one. But the Firestarter girl, not the best actor. Try something else now. I don't know.
You know why I think sometimes movies with little kids are fun to watch when it's like creepy stuff or supernatural stuff is because when you're watching an adult, you as an adult know how adults think, and you're constantly going, why don't you just go out the fucking door? Or why don't you just this?
Yeah, why aren't you smarter than this?
Yeah, but when you're a little kid, you remember what it was like to be a little kid, and you wouldn't have, you'd be, You're
just like, still trying to compute, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not why they're not moving, because they don't fully understand what's happening to them.
Right, and that's why they're not, that's why they're not having a hard time, why they're able to just react to it as it's there, because they do think it's there, because they're a little kid. They're not, they don't have all that time where they go, that's not there. Oh, it just hit me in the head, I guess it's there.
Right.
Yeah.
they don't deal with the bullshit of just like trying to prove themselves wrong. Or
yeah.
I think also kid actors have gotten worse since we're no longer allowed to traumatize them. Like The Shining, Sixth Sense, The Exorcist.
You traumatized the kid in the
back when we were able to just scare the shit out of the kids the whole time we were filming.
What about Stranger Things?
I heard on
I guess that show's good. You're right. Whatever.
You know what I heard on a podcast? I heard that the scene with Drew Barrymore at the beginning. I heard that the director was telling her stories of like animal abuse to get her that upset in that scene.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
No wonder she's an animal rights activist. It all started in...
Also insane now.
Is she?
Drew Barrymore.
This TikTok
people whispering animals.
No, she did this TikTok where she's like screaming, just like, any chance you get the opportunity, go out and dance. Just
I only know
walk
her.
in the rain.
Right.
It's amazing. And she's just like in the rain, screaming in her yard. It's like, can you calm down?
Are you Tom Cruise jumping on the couch?
I only know Drew Barrymore from that Einstein Kill lyric where they're like, I just buried Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Scream, yeah. First chick that dies in Scream,
yeah. Well, that's all I know.
She also in E.T.
So.
Yeah.
I've never seen that all through.
E.T. was her first movie, I think.
E.T.'s
E.T.'s
funny.
hideous.
The part where he runs out of the closet.
I saw a tweet that says if E.T. happened now, me and my friends would kill it. Like that would if his neck extended, garden shears. Just sorry, you're freaking me the fuck out. Quit glowing.
He's so sweet.
No, he's free.
Finger. Oh.
His grandma's stomach.
It's like a penguin with a little feet.
Penguin / giraffe.
Yeah, well. All right, what's your next?
Lightning bug.
Least favorite?
Well, my least favorite, most horrible movie of all time,
Happy Feet.
Stephen King movie. Yep. Children of the Corn remake. Was shit.
Is that Stephen King? Children of the Corn?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I forgot that.
You know what we haven't talked about at all?
What?
Pet Sematary.
Oh, I like the new one.
Yeah, the new one's really good.
Yeah. And that's one of them where I like the new one and the old one. The new one because that's a good movie, and the old one because it's nostalgic.
Yeah, I like it. We don't want to go down that road.
I would put a steel.
I've never seen the Children of the Corn.
It is dumb.
Yeah.
The Children of the Corn remake was so bad. Like
whatever.
In the original, the car breaks down. They're in this or whatever. They're in this town. These kids are trying to kill them.
Malachi? Is that the guy's name?
Well, that's Malachi was like
the red-haired kid.
He was red.
Malachi's such an intense name.
Yeah.
Name him a demon.
Yeah, he was like his right. He was.
What's your name? Beelzebub.
Isaac's right-hand man. Or whatever. Anyway, that's not the problem with the movie. The problem with the movie is in the original, the guy's like a dentist or something. They get stuck in this town. They're being chased by these kids. They don't. They're just trying to run and stay alive. Right? Makes sense for like a normal person. In the remake, the guy, I can't think of his name, but like the main character guy, right, is ex-military, and he's getting his ass whooped by these little kids. And it's like, what? What war did we lose? Because you were in that one.
Right?
Like, it made no fucking sense.
It would be
to me.
hilarious though if it was just like a super like jacked with like a scar on his face, ex-military dude, and he just starts fucking up all these little kids coming out of him.
He wasn't like he was
just
like
kicking him in the face.
he was just like a normal looking guy, you know, who was like in the military before, you know, in shape, but he wasn't like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando, like
the guy, the military dude from Avatar.
Yeah,
fucking up a bunch of kids in a field.
Yeah. But like, so like he didn't look like that obviously. But my thing was this ex-military guy. Okay, now he's probably assessed by now. Something fucked up is going on in this town. Number one. Number two, the kids are trying to kill us. Number two. Number three, no parents are obviously around. So fuck if these kids get killed. You know. All right. At this point, now I'm putting my military. Oh, right. And not even on that. Just at least injure them to where they can't come and keep coming at you. Break a leg! Break an arm! Something! They can't swing a scythe when they got a broken arm.
Is he by himself?
No, he's with the girl, too.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's there, too, and everything. But, like, and even her part is annoying because now she's more like a damsel in distress throughout the whole movie. Which is annoying. So, like, he's trying to save her from these kids.
Did Michael Bay make this movie?
No! Like, I don't even know who the fuck made this movie. But anyway, like, I got rid of it. Like, that's the one horror movie I got rid of. And sorry, you got it for me for Easter.
That's gotta be a bad movie.
And you got it for me for Easter.
Sorry.
So,
can't even keep it together.
Thanks a lot. But yeah, I hated that movie. Me and the wife watched it one time, and like usually when I watch movies for the first time, I'm pretty quiet. I don't really talk much because I want to watch the movie.
Right.
You know, after that, I'll talk through a movie, you know, because I know what's happening now. But that's the first movie where I literally was laying in bed watching it, and things happened like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
wait, so they took over like a long time ago? That's in that movie?
No.
No,
they take over the same way they take over in the original.
Which is like,
where all of a sudden they
just rise up or whatever because they're all part of this cult.
Yeah.
But it's like, the story takes place like a couple years after they did that or whatever.
No, it's the same thing as in the original movie.
I never saw the original movie.
Oh, well, it's like a week or two.
Yeah, it's not very long.
It's not long.
Yeah.
It's not long at all.
So why even have that in the movie at all then?
Exactly. That's my point. Who cares?
Yeah.
You could have just had one of the adults just ask a random question. Well, what do you do when they turn 18? You know, and then Isaac, we continue their bloodline then we end theirs. Like, you know.
Right. Yeah, or
something like that. You kind of get an idea. Oh, they produce and then they kill them. You know?
Yeah, or a conversation that makes more sense. Let me go.
Yeah, well,
I don't really care.
Or a combination of, you know, or that, or a conversation of, look, I'm a military vet, and I'm going to fuck you little 9-year-olds up if you don't leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that alone would be better, but no, you know, I can't stand that movie.
I never liked the beginning
the whole
scene
time.
In the original Children of the Corn, where they're, you know, I mean, obviously they have the scene where the kids are just rise up and they're killing their parents, and, you know, that's part of the story that has to happen, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't like the scene in the diner where the kids are, like, trying to force that old man's hand into the meat thing or whatever. It's like, I don't remember that being in the book. There wasn't, like, torture and stuff. It was just, like, kids just fucking killed their parents or whatever easy way was standing there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember some kind of, like, gleeful, ooh, see if we can cause pain on the way out. Like, that got added in the movie, I think, and I was like,
I think that went for more like shock value.
Yeah.
You know, I can see them adding that to make some shock. We're in a deli diner, might as well use the deli slicer, you know, like kind of thing.
But like even
I honestly don't get affected by it because I'm just like, oh, whatever.
See,
I forgot.
Maybe that guy touched that certain kid. That kid's making him pay for it.
Yeah, that wasn't even related to the whole cult thing. That guy just wanted to fucking kill that dude. I forgot about these two movies when I said my favorite movies. These are my favorite Stephen King movies. In the Tall Grass and Gerald's Game are the two.
Oh, Gerald's Game. I forgot about Gerald's Game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You ever watch that?
No.
Oh,
it's great.
God.
Also, In the Tall Grass is great.
Is that the one with Mark Wahlberg?
The Tall Grass?
He's got that mood ring.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that one.
He's got that mood ring.
Not what you're talking about. Whatever the fuck you're talking about, Sammy.
Okay.
Don't go to Telegram.
There's like
Mark
wind.
Wahlberg with the moon ring on.
Yeah. And it turns black. Run!
There's like Mark Wahlberg is like in a field and there's wind and there's grass and then he's like, run!
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw the movie. That was spot on. All right.
There's like
No.
they keep getting like their cars break down while they're driving through this like country road, but like on either side of the road is like really tall grass that's like over their heads or whatever. But when their car stops, they hear, I think like at least in one of the cases, like a loved one like walks into the grass or whatever, but like they hear like that person like beckoning them into the thing.
Oh, okay.
Like they were like, "Oh, what the fuck? Why did you go in there?" And they go in there after him. But then once they walk in there, they can't fucking find their way back out. And the whole movie is about them trying to get out.
Oh, okay. I did see that.
And it's like making mazes and shit. And
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did see that. That was good. Yeah.
Oh, the Gerald's game is, oh my god.
That's when the lady tied up in the bed, right?
Yeah.
Handcuffed, yeah.
With the foot licking scene that gave Sadie nightmares for a week.
Yeah.
Who was licking her foot?
The dog.
Oh.
But it was the dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that. It's like that story you tell at...
When did this come out?
It's on Netflix, I think.
It came out,
Yeah.
when did, 2018, because that's when Kelly got married and we came back from that trip. And that's why it affected me so much, just because we were just tired from the 18-hour trip.
I remember I watch it with you?
We all watched it when we got back that night for some reason.
Yeah.
We put a couple of Jack's pizzas in the oven and then...
I didn't go with you to the wedding.
No, but you were at the house for some reason.
Yeah. I think it's because I saw the movie and I wanted to show it to you guys.
Oh yeah, you were still living there. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I remember that scene played and you immediately were like...
Burst into tears.
You immediately started crying because you got so scared at it. And I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad.
It just looked too similar to what my brain shows me.
Well, it's like that. You ever tell that ghost story when you're like at sleepovers when you're a little kid about the...
Oh, people could lick too? Or whatever.
I don't know. I just remember we used to always tell the story where there was a girl. She was home alone. Her parents went away for the night. She was in the house, and the faucet was dripping.
Oh no, you told us that. Yeah, you told us that story.
Okay. Yeah, we would always tell that, and that's what it reminded me of.
Is because that's very similar. In your story, the girl every time she goes to bed, her dog licks her feet or whatever, and she always has to get her dog to stop licking her feet.
She's laying in bed and she hears the faucet dripping, and it's bothering her, and she's kind of scared because she's in the house by herself, but she knows it's okay because the dog is licking her hand.
Oh,
she finally gets up.
Yeah.
She finally reaches over and turns on the light, and her dog is hanging, and it's blood dripping, and she looks down. There's a man licking her hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another ending to that is that he wrote.
You wonder why I'm so fucked up.
Because those are Camp
in the
stories.
mirror in his
He wrote
blood.
what?
He wrote people can lick too in the mirror in the dog's blood, and you never actually see the creature or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
I think it'd be worse to have the man there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't know, because then you'd be wondering what the fuck was going across my
Well,
hand.
if he's gone and I'm still in one piece, like I can move on.
Right.
If he's licking my hand, I was like, oh, am I dying?
Yeah. Now he's gonna get up and kill you.
Yeah. now that I know of the existence of him.
Also, why is he like why never mind. I don't know. How close is your bed to the bathroom light? You didn't have to get up to fucking.
Well, I think it's like a nightlight.
Oh.
On the bedside table. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lamp.
I was thinking like you were standing in the middle of your bathroom and you looked. There's a fucking guy like. You know?
You're walking across the room, he's just following you. Hang on.
Yeah. I was like, even if your dog did that, it'd be weird.
Get out.
Yeah.
Can I help you?
What, I hit something on my hand? Jesus.
Because like I said, I forgot, but I just fisted a jar of peanut butter.
Dude, don't say fisted a jar of butter. It's a weird picture. Alright, well.
Speaking of nightmares.
Rick's just like, this is hopeless.
So Joey's favorite is Gerald's.
I thought the first one went off the rails. It's the second episode, and it's already topped. I can't wait till the third episode when somebody just rams into my house.
Well, we know what your least favorite one is. It's
yeah.
It's the Children of the Corn.
Remake.
What's your least favorite one?
Remake, specifically.
The remake.
I don't know. I'm not big on the whole Pet Cemetery thing, but I don't think I've ever like. I need to read the book. I haven't read the book, so I think I need to read it. So yeah.
Your least favorite one.
His favorite Stephen King movie.
He said he didn't really have one because.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Because you only saw the ones that people are like, oh, it's a good movie.
And we know yours is Salem's Lot.
Yeah, that
we
one.
We know that for a damn fact.
That's Rob Lowe. God.
Dot the I's across the T's.
Yeah, if it didn't have a stellar reputation, I just didn't bother.
So my next one, I guess, is what underrated. What movie, Stephen King movie, do you think is underrated?
I would say Gerald's Game.
In the Tall Grass.
A lot of people don't talk about it.
Let me
and
look
it's
at my
amazing.
list.
Well, I didn't know about it.
It has the mom from Spy Kids.
Okay. I don't know what it is.
It also has the uncle from Spy Kids.
Okay, now we're talking. You got Cheech in there? Let's go.
I would.
Oh, Cheech? You mean Machete?
Yeah, Machete.
Which one? What are we doing?
Oh, their real uncle was Machete. My bad.
What are we talking about?
Nothing. We're going way off topic or something.
All right. Well, I got a whole list of underrated movies.
Oh my god!
Oh,
we were talking about how cool the thumb people from the second Spy Kids movie is.
Alright. Before we get to Mom's list, let's just do a quick go around. Sam, you said Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
Gerald's Game.
I said In the Tall Grass.
In the Tall Grass.
Ooh,
I think Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
Not many people talk about it. Doesn't even show up on contest
That was just
lists.
so old.
Huh?
That was just so old.
No, this is a lot of people
What?
just don't like it or don't realize.
That's
Only
40 years
from the
ago.
80s.
Oh. Well.
Only from
40 years ago? Damn!
All right. So I'm gonna. There's a whole bunch. I would say Thinner is very underrated.
Yeah,
it's a
Thinner.
really
Yeah,
good movie.
Thinner, yeah.
A lot of people talk about that. I would also
What do you got? A whole list of everything he's ever.
Well,
Yeah, she does.
I would say also Needful Things. It was made into a movie, but not the greatest movie. But they could. That's one they should remake, and they should. That could be awesome.
Because that one you could actually show the two different aspects of. Because the things going on in people's mind is that this thing is not what it actually is.
Right.
You could actually show that on a screen.
Right, exactly. And you'd be watching it going, why are you doing this for that piece of crap? And then you'd be seeing, oh, they don't know it's a piece of crap. They think, that would be a really good...
Well,
And Leland Gaunt is just a cool character.
He is, yes. Yep. There was a guy who used to come into the laundromat I used to work at. His last name was Straker, like the vampire. Well, not the vampire, but the vampire's helper in Salem's Lot. Right. And I was like, you are a character in one of my favorite books.
Straker.
Yeah, Straker.
He was a really good character in Resident Evil too.
Was he? It's a good name for a bad guy. Straker. Straker and Barlow.
Sounds like a Resident Evil character. What? Different. Oh. Also,
I would say another one that never comes up, and I think this one was actually made for TV. I don't think it was ever in the theaters. I think it was a miniseries, even maybe. Storm of the Century. You ever see that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I would agree that is underrated. I don't think I ever hear anybody say that they're like top.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they stuck in a tunnel and the tunnel's flooding and Sylvester Stallone has to get them all
That's daylight. Shut up. I hate you.
That's a good movie.
That's an underrated Stallone movie.
Yeah.
So that's a topic for another podcast.
No, Storm of the Century. They're on this little island in Maine. And a storm's coming, and there's a guy that's something wrong with him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's part of the Stephen King drinking.
I like the little poem that the guy keeps saying. What does he say? Born in sin, come on in.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember.
He says, born in lust, turn to dust. Born in sin, come on in. That's what he keeps saying.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
I've only seen that movie maybe twice.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then the guy,
it's a long one. I know that.
Well, I think it was a mini-series made for TV. Yeah. But it's about this town where the stranger comes to town. He does some bad stuff, so he gets locked up. But they're on this little island. It's a small community on this island. Nobody can leave because a storm is coming. They're all batting down the hatches because of storm. And then it turns out the stranger wants something. And the people of the town are all trying to decide, do we give this guy what he wants so he'll go away, or do we not? And
is that a Klondike bar?
It is. Surprisingly a hard decision. Like the last Klondike bar in town.
No, actually it's not a Klondike bar. Somebody opened a package of Kit Kats and he wanted a break. Oh. That's all he wanted. Was a break.
But
Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar.
Well, they both wanted the left clicks.
Oh, that's
That
true.
was the
Yeah,
issue.
you know what? That's really it. Yeah. Nobody was a righty. Everybody was a lefty.
But it's like in we were talking about characters and how there's some kind of element to a story that's causing the situation, but the real evil in the situation is a person. You know, like in Under the Dome, that politician is causing. You know.
Wait, I want to read that one. Don't talk.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
he wants to read it, so now we can't talk.
Yeah, that one I can't read. But I can tell you that basically so much of the story that's why things going bad for people. It's a bad situation being made even worse by a power hungry politician who's afraid he could lose power if he doesn't
do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds a little too realistic. Yeah.
So those were my underrated.
Is Identity written by Stephen King? Because it should have been.
Oh.
That's not Stephen King. What are you doing?
Honorary mention, Identity.
1408.
Oh, 1408's great.
Yeah. 1408.
Good movie.
Yep. I remember watching that one and just being at the end, just like, oh, fuck, he's still in there.
The one at the hotel room where it snows.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, good moment. Good. Never
I
mind.
can't make it through that movie.
No?
I fall asleep every time.
Oh, really?
I get bored.
Inception.
No.
No,
I
I
hate
was
you.
gonna say good Inception, but I said memento. I don't know how to say the word. That movie. With
I
the
thought it said
tattoos.
Incession. I was like, what the hell movie?
Incession? I think you watched the wrong movie, mother.
That's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's Game of Thrones.
Speaking of, are either of you
Did
watching
you go
that?
into the back room to get that movie? That's only people who know about rental places back in the day.
I might. I keep hearing really good things about it. But
Are you? Yeah, let me know.
the new Steven, I think
New Game of Thrones?
Well, how long have we been doing this for?
House of Dragons.
I can't tell. Whatever that little record.
2 hours, 4 minutes.
So we're already over 2 hours.
Christine is
Oh, I forgot that's stupid.
that's a good movie. Yeah, I like it.
If you like cars. Hi.
Well, I
I
like
don't
it.
think you have to like cars to like that movie. I'm not a big car guy, but I like that movie.
There was another one of the books where there are, I take that back what I said about Stephen King about how at the end a lot of people always want a twist. It's just that sometimes his twists, that's the thing with a lot of his books. His twists come a lot of times in the middle of the book. And then there's still kind of a fight kind of scene. They still got to take care of the evil, but you already know at that point what the evil is. So the twist, you already had that moment where you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I can
Because
see.
that happens in Christine.
Well, it happens in Christine. Happens in It.
Yeah.
You know, they realize only halfway through the book when they're kids and they realize, oh, this is
The fucked up town we're living in.
that and
Yeah.
Oh, this Pennywise thing is a.
But like in Christine, you're wondering the whole book, like, how's he getting all the money to pay for this, or why is he, and like you don't know, and then you realize that he's been pushing the car, and the car is fixing itself, and then you realize that's why the guy who owned it before had that back brace, because now his back's bothering. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay.
Wait, he's pushing the car?
The beginning, yeah, when it doesn't run, because as Christine goes, she repairs herself. So at the beginning, he's just pushing her in the junkyard.
So every time it gets messed up, he has to re-push her?
Well, not every time, usually, because at the end, where she's going out by herself and running over people and taking care of people that are bothering him, she just repairs herself on the way back to the junkyard as she's driving.
Last year,
But when he first got her, she was in really sad shape, and he had to push her to get her.
Victoria's here, so I'm leaving.
Okay.
I ship
Alright.
Christine and her before the
Ugh. Goodbye,
Huh?
people.
I ship Christine and
Goodbye. Oh.
can you get your ass out of my face?
I always thought that story was kind of interesting, with the backstory of the guy who originally buys the car and owned it, his whole life till he died. That the kid buys it. Well, the kid doesn't buy it from him; he buys it from his brother. But when the guy tells him that what his brother was like with that car, and that his wife choked in it, his daughter choked in it, he just would not sell that car, and how much time he spent on that car and all that. And I mean,
They both
it's kind
choked
of
separately?
yeah.
Oh.
The car killed him.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I thought, it's kind of an extreme version
'Cause
of
it was
what a
jealous.
lot of people do in their life, though. I mean, a lot of people, and I think particularly men, but women do this too. But have a hobby or something that they like, and they'll just spend their time on that to the point where they don't spend time with their kids, or
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And
I play video games. Oh wait, what?
yeah. Anyway. Oh, but yeah, Stephen King, good author.
Yep.
Love his books.
Love his movies.
Love his movies.
Creepshow. The movie but you don't hear it that often. Like, it gets brought up. If you look up, like, top 10 Stephen King movies, it's usually on that list on pretty much anybody's.
Yeah.
But you never hear anybody go, oh, you remember Creepshow? You know?
I remember, I have Creepshow. I've got, like, both, like, 1 and 2, I think.
So do I.
And
I got
don't,
2 for, like, $3.
Yeah. I don't find myself watching them as often as I watch, and I think it's just a preference of me. I like one long story as opposed to short, several short stories, but I should watch them again because I don't really remember what the story is.
Oh, the birthday cake?
Birthday cake. Does that have the one where the lady has the glove and she's playing cards and then you find out my fingers are gone? Is that one?
No.
That must have been a different show.
That was Twilight Zone. But no, like where the Medelia, where's my cake, Medelia?
Oh.
You don't remember that one at all? Really?
Remember.
Oh, that's such
Is Thanks for the Ride guy on that?
That's on 2.
Okay, I remember
Thanks for
him.
the ride, lady. That was also the one that had the weird alive sewage in the lake that these kids were swimming in.
Is that the one where Stephen King plays with the moss growing on him?
That's in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I do remember.
Well, he doesn't play when a meteor lands and he touches it like an idiot.
I would touch it.
Huh?
I touch it.
Oh boy, Dale, you screwed up again. And he just shoots his face off with a shotgun to end it. It's the big Christmas tree walking around. That 2 also had the cigar Indian statue.
Oh yeah.
Kills one kid that kills that older couple.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's the first one. Maybe it's the second one where it has like the beast in the box. And this guy feeds his wife. Like his wife's like really abusive to him. And so since he finds this monster that just eats people, he gets her to show up at his I don't know if it's a hospital or if it's a school or something. But he feeds her to the creature in there.
Yeah, I've never seen these creep.
Huh?
I've never seen the creep shows.
Oh, the creep shows are so good.
I didn't know Stephen King did those.
Mm-hmm. He had more hands-on with the first one than the second one.
Were they books or were they? Did you just help with the
Well,
writing?
to my understanding, they're based off some old comics that him and another writer was into. It also has the best makeup artist of all time, Tom Savini, makes the effects.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, they weren't like short stories that got made into, like they weren't anybody's short stories from a book that got made into those. I do also like his one short story, and it's in, I can't remember which one of his books it's in. It's the one where the car is parked.
Christine.
No, it's another car. This car is just parked, and these people keep going up to it. And anyway, this car is like a monster. It eats people. It just sucks them in. Once you touch it, or once you get in its shadow or something, I don't know, it sucks you in. And but what I like about the story is there's a little girl and boy who are trying to warn, because like their parents stop and their dad gets sucked into it and their mom, and so it's really about this little boy and girl, and they're trying to, like, they know not to go by the car, but they don't know what to do because they're little kids and they don't. All of a sudden their mom and dad are gone, and the cop comes. He sees these 2 little kids, and he comes, and they're like trying to tell him, don't go by the car and stuff. And anyway, it's pretty suspenseful. Like, before you're reading it, and you're like, would you listen to the little kids? Don't go out there, But you feel so sorry for the little kids too.
Another one that I won't like quite say is like underrated, but I also feel like it doesn't get brought up as much as it should be. Cujo. I don't hear many. Ain't that's the Stephen King? If I
that's Stephen King. Yeah, that's a good book.
And it's basically just like you're stranded on an island story, but with a rabid dog, and you're in a car instead in the middle of the heat.
Yeah, that is a good story. He really builds the suspense. And, yeah. considering it's mostly it's just this lady in her car with her little kid and trying to figure out what to do.
It's basically your classic trapped on an island with sharks all around you kind of story, or in a raft, But you just change the areas.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you're just stuck in your car. That won't run, by the way, for some reason. Just quit working.
And he does a good job in that story too of explaining why nobody's coming by.
Yeah.
Where the person who owns that place is, why they're not coming home. Because it's not one of those stories where you're like, well, why don't you just wait a minute? Somebody's gonna be, but she's going to be desperate. Like she's secluded. There's not anybody going to be coming around.
What are you looking at? What are you looking for?
I saw something.
Don't be doing that shit in my house.
God, he's not doing that crap.
I'm
Because
seeing things.
you let him do all that witchery.
But yeah, not a lot of good stories. He's like 90. 75. I almost said 90.
Damn!
I got it confused. Clint Eastwood is 92. I was just looking at this up at work the other day because they were talking about people still working. Yeah, well, still alive and still doing what they do at their age. And we were talking about Clint Eastwood being a 92, still directing films, and Stephen
Isn't Jane
King.
Fonda in her 80s?
Is she?
Also.
I think so.
Who?
Yeah,
Jane Fonda.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks like Michael Myers is coming to kill you, and
Yeah, that's cool. He does look awfully close
He
compared
does.
to where, compared to where he's actually at.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's damn near right behind me.
Looks closer than when we started. Anyway.
Yeah.
Shall I go home?
So yeah, that's pretty much Stephen King.
That's
I didn't get to get out any of my pop culture news earlier because we did Sam's, and then Mom just went into her whole rant about Stephen King. No. But did you see the new Super Mario Brothers?
I was going to ask you. I didn't know if we wanted to talk about it on this or not. But I wanted to ask you. Did you see it?
It's pretty new, so we kind of got to.
Yeah.
Mom's like, no, I'm out of my element. We were in the element for 2 hours!
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Looks amazing.
Looks amazing. Definitely looks amazing. Very excited.
I want to
watch
hear
it.
more Chris Pratt's Mario before I
Do you?
judge, though. Yes, I do. Because at one moment it sounds like crap,
Yeah.
and then another moment it sounded decent to me.
Right.
You know?
I saw a TikTok where this guy put on a Chris Pratt mustache and he did
Chris
the
Pratt
line.
mustache?
Yeah, and then he did the line, and then they were like, no, I'm not doing it again. That's perfect. Fuck you.
I will say Jack Black's Bowser sounded amazing.
Yeah! I was like, oh, spot on, perfect, love that. I'm so excited. I want to hear the rest too. If Mario's a little off and that's fine, I can enjoy this movie.
It sounds like he's doing a more realistic Italian accent.
Apparently it has something to do with the 80s show. Apparently he's referencing that more than the video game, which is weird because the video game is why Mario's fucking famous, and the 80s show he's famous in spite of that. But
actually, that was a very popular show.
Was it?
Yeah, and fun fact, a wrestler played Mario in that show. So.
Oh, who?
Can't remember his name. He was from the 80s era. It was before my time.
Oh, right.
Before I got into wrestling.
Right.
Well, I wanted to hear Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to hear Donkey Kong go, because you know it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks amazing.
Yes.
It's made by the same people who did the Minions movie.
Illumination, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So you'll probably like the animation, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they do a good job of stuff. They have good humor in there.
Right.
Stephen King. Stephen King question for you.
Okay.
Has he had any problem with people getting on his case or any of his stuff? It's not appropriate nowadays, or you can't, or is he so far?
Besides the child orgy and it, yeah, that's usually the one I hear the most about.
Yeah, I just wondered if he really came in contact or had much problem with that, or.
I've never seen a hashtag cancel Stephen King or anything like that. But I think the thing that gets the most question is why would he make this child orgy?
Well, he's he has addressed that. He's I've done a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, which kind of is an excuse, but at the same time not. But I don't really like the fact that I think he's even said, if he could if he could just rewrite it or if he came up with it now, like he wouldn't.
That would be very, very, very different.
Yeah.
I will say that It is the only book that I ever read of his where I stopped reading it about halfway through. And I read it again later all the way through. But when I originally was reading it, I stopped reading it halfway through. And I think it's because...
Was that Kid Orgy?
No, I didn't get that far. I actually didn't remember that even being in the book. No, I stopped reading it when she's visiting the witch. And it was just freaking me out too much. And
see,
I
need to hear this story because
you mean when she's an adult, she's back in her apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, and
yeah.
Is that what that's supposed to be in chapter 2?
Yeah.
Is that what that? Okay.
Yeah.
The tea is not really tea.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, I can't take it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard like the It book is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some dark.
Well, because Pennywise is just
stuff.
He's just
He's
evil
pure.
personified.
He's
you have
evil
to
and targeted.
Yeah.
And so, but I just know, like, I wonder if I'll even be able to make it through the book because I know, like, just in the movie itself, the scene with the dad creeping on his daughter.
Oh yeah.
Just I have a hard time getting through that scene as is. Like,
well,
it's just
even the part where she gets the call and she's leaving, like that's like hard to listen to. Like
oh yeah.
And he's trying to her husband's trying to stop her.
Right.
Like, the things that happen, like that she has to do to herself and to him. To it's like,
you know
oh, Jesus Christ.
You know what? Well, and the scene at the beginning where they beat the hell out of the gay man and throw him.
Oh,
you know, I mean that's pretty rough to watch too.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember watching that in theaters and instantly like getting worried for Sam. Like. It would hit too hard because it was so intense. Yeah. Because like I can watch an intense scene, but there's certain scenes that like I know other people if I'm watching them with them, I'm like, oh, God, this scene is really intense. You know.
It's like Dr. Sleep.
You're good.
You saw Dr. Sleep, right?
Not all the way through yet.
Okay. Well, did you see the scene where? With the
I've watched reviews of it, so I pretty much know the movie. But
did you see the scene with the little boy?
No.
Oh, okay. It's because that scene is like that's a hard one to watch too.
Yeah.
It's like.
Wait, is that the one where the boy's like constantly begging for them to stop or save him or something like that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that scene, but I've seen reviewers talk about it, and you can see in their eyes it's very hard to get through.
Scene to watch. It's like. Yeah.
But, well, and like even like Rob Zombie's Halloween, that scene where the one mental patient is being abused, can't really say.
Oh yeah, the girl
can't really say the R word.
Right.
They frowned that. So, but abused. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Being attacked.
Right behind
assaulted.
Michael. Yeah, assaulted. Right behind Michael while he's making a mask. You know, it's Michael, so he's like a better term, he just doesn't give a shit. You know, he's just wanting to make his mask. What's really pissing him off is the guys touching his mask. You know, what starts it. But the simple fact of what they're doing, like, is very uncomfortable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And even though I know for a fact that Michael's not getting up to kill this guy because of what he's doing to her. It's because the guy's grabbing his mask and, you know, he was already told, don't touch his masks.
Right.
You know, Danny Trejo's told him that earlier in the movie. You know that. But when you see Michael's 7-foot tall ass get off that chair, you can't help but be like, yes!
Right.
Rip it off! You know, like, you know, but it's still, before that happens, it's so hard to watch that scene.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my God. You know.
Well, that's why it ticked me off when people were talking about some reviewers, and then there was a couple of, it was before COVID happened, so we had some volunteers at my work that were men, and they were setting the tables, and they're nice people and everything, but they had seen the latest Rambo movie. And they were talking about how they didn't agree with how violent it was and how, you know, he set these traps for the guy, you know, and all this. And I was like, did you see what the guys were doing? These people were doing, because that shit happens in real life. The human trafficking, and they had this girl drugged out and all, you know, like, that's what these people were. You were feeling sorry for them?
Right.
Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care how violent it was.
And have you not watched the rest of the series of what Rambo's been through? What do you think he's doing on his free time? He doesn't really move on from the war.
But it just really irritated me that these guys were talking about, the violence. It's like, but it wasn't bothering you what was going on with the girl? Because you're not mentioning that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Yeah.
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 But oh, and It, the season or the scene in It that creeps me out the most though, two scenes that creep me out the most of the whole movie is that freaking librarian.
Oh yeah.
Just sitting there staring at the kid. I'm like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
God damn, you creeper. And then the scene, and now that I know that it's coming, it's funny to me now. But the first time I saw it, the little witch like all naked in the back dancing, doing whatever she's doing. It's like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Her like twitching around.
Yeah, it was like
that scene creeped me out for a different reason, and the simple reason is because I saw that scene online. It was like not a leak, but it was like, you know how like some stars would go on like Jay Leno back in the day, and they would show did things like that, right? So I was watching that scene. They skipped the part where she's kind of like janking all over whatever. But like it gets to that where she goes, "Oh, go get you a cookie or tea or whatever." She leaves, right? Mm-hmm. And in the movie, like in the actual movie, it's like a giant thing comes out of that room, right?
Yeah.
So, but in this scene, they changed this scene where she's basically just coming all shaking, like how Pennywise, he does that like weird shake where you can't really see what's going on. Right. So it looks like her doing that, like naked. Right. Almost, right? But you can't see anything. Right. That's why it's allowed, whatever, because of the weird shake. So, like, I knew that scene was coming. When we were watching, I knew that scene, because that scene, it made me go, oh, shit, But I was like, so I was kind of like watching your guys' reaction. And then when I looked up to see what happened, that big thing comes running, and it made me jump, because I'm like, that's not what was on my phone screen when I watched this scene. You sons of bitches!
I think my favorite scene is it's like at the beginning when Georgie is talking to him and Bill Skarsgård does that eye thing. Because if you actually split the screen down the middle, down Pennywise's face, and cover one, one eye is like, it's creepy because he's looking two different directions, right? And he's drooling. But one eye is looking at Georgie. The other eye, if you cover up the other, you notice is looking at the camera at you. Oh.
I've never looked at that.
He's looking directly at you.
That's that is creepy.
Yeah.
I love his Pennywise. Pennywise, like I love Tim Curry's Pennywise also. Like it's a classic Pennywise. Yeah. But this Pennywise was sick and twisted.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
You know why the scene in the sewer creeps me out? Because
in the remake?
In the remake, yeah. Because he's doing all the creepy stuff.
There's a lot of sewer scenes.
Well, with Georgie, the first scene, where he's talking to him, because he does this thing where he's all happy and I'm a clown and don't try to have some popcorn and he's being all creepy and weird, and then it's like he stops talking and he almost gets sad looking for a minute, like
he like zones out,
and I'm like,
and Georgie's like, you good, bro?
Keep the boat.
I just realized I got more paper and wax, and my brother's still sick. So
wasn't sick, just being lazy and didn't want to play with his brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think he's sick in the book.
He is sick, but he's starting to feel better. But he doesn't want to play. Yeah. He doesn't feel like playing with the little brother right then. That's why he feels so guilty.
It's all raining and shit.
Yeah. That's why he's guilty. Feels guilty the whole time. Yeah. That is guilty. It's your fault. Yeah. I love it. Like they're definitely S tier when it comes to Stephen King movies.
And I'm so glad that they split it up and they didn't try to fit like the 1,400 page book into one movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the original, if you watch it on DVD, it is like that, but they did it as a mini-series originally.
Right.
It was originally as a mini-series, and people forget that sometimes, I think.
Remember when Jack saw it, and then he kept saying the "You'll float too" thing, but because he's actually a little boy, he would start out sounding just like Georgie.
Yeah. You'll float too! You're like, go fuck yourself! I love you, my little nephew, but you can go fuck off now! Thank you very much!
That is also such a chilling scene when in that basement.
Oh, I know.
Georgie, like, he starts saying, but then he starts rotting, and like, the voice distortion that they did, like, some voice distortion, like, super,
right,
like, gross and stuff, but that was, like, they got chilling down.
Yeah.
And then Pennywise just behind him, puppeteering the fuck.
Just
just reminded me of the scene from Annabelle when the demon is like holding the doll.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
Stay over there, thank you.
This shit out now. That's that old meme right there.
Yeah. But yeah, that librarian, it's such a good scene because you're just watching the little boy. You're not really paying attention. You're not expecting anything creepy or weird. It's just a little boy in the library. And you know there's something weird about the book. But then all of a sudden you're looking up and you're like, wait, what the hell is with the librarian?
Well, and that's the thing. That's why those movies, I consider them as scary. Because every time you rewatch, you notice something different. You notice something like in the background just because you're like, oh, I've seen this part of someone. And you're like, oh, wait, why is that guy just...
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like not so much in the second one.
There's a couple things that get odd in that you can,
but like not like missable details like that.
Nah.
Is it in the first one when he's a little kid, or is it in the second one when he's
the first
an
one's
adult?
they're only kids. Oh no, the second one they're also kids. They have flashbacks again.
They have flashbacks. Yeah. Is it in the first one or the second one where I think it's Richie with the whole big Paul Bunyan thing?
The second one.
Second one. Yeah.
Is that the one though where all the people all of a sudden looking at him? They
all stop and start staring. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the second one. That's one of the flashbacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Freaky shit.
Yeah.
I like how they did that though. You know, with the flashbacks because like you knew. Okay, yeah, he fucked with them, but you didn't know how much he fucked with them.
Yeah.
Like it showed how much more he fucked with them. It's like, oh damn, he did even that too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had freakouts in the first one to unify them all, and that's really what that first one did. And then the second one was like really fleshed that out.
Yeah. Did you
after a fight?
Yeah.
With my hand and it was like
that's what she that's what she does. She tells you. Well, anybody else got anything else about Stephen King they want to add or any fun facts? Thanks, Mom, for coming on here. Yeah, well, I was just going like that, but you want a handshake, that's fine. Completely off camera, by the way. Completely between both our cameras, they saw none of that. That's how my relationship with my mom is. There's no hugs or no kisses goodbyes. How do you do? Yes.
Just contact that.
Pleasure doing business with you. Yes. But our resident Stephen King expert and obviously which buttons left already. And I am RT, and you're going to have to be stuck with this ugly mug for the rest of the time, by the way, because we only do this once every couple weeks. So, with that being said, you guys, enjoy your Halloween season. Watch some Stephen King movies. Check out maybe some Stephen King books if you like to read. You've heard her suggestions, and honestly, that probably wouldn't be bad suggestions to start out with. Yeah. But always remember the most important thing: be great to yourself, be good to others, tell somebody you care about, and make their day better. Trust me on that. Peace, guys.